This is Riley Grace Rochong, and these are our wonderful panelists. Say hi, wonderful panelists.
Hello.
What's
Hello.
good?
Oh,
Hello, hello, hello.
Yo.
So, for our panelists tonight and for the people who are watching, this is our 5th show in this series. Tonight, we have probably what I consider to be the highest skill panel that I've hosted so far. Some of you are familiar with the debate scene, so I'm going to expect that you all know how to be able to make space for yourself to speak, and we'll only try to cut in when rules are broken or to ask pressing questions to the panel, but you can always DM me if you would like me to cut it in for you. I'm tentatively planning for this panel to run for about 2 hours or until the conversation has resolved, whichever is first. And again, I have a new official website where you can support my work. Please visit RileyGraceRochong.com to check out cool merch and to consider making a generous donation. With that, here are the rules for tonight. Number 1, if I'm talking, stop talking. I don't want to participate, so if I get involved, it's either to stimulate conversation or to get things back on track. Number 2, at least be respectful of me. Y'all can hang on each other. I expect that there's going to be a lot of I don't know what I expect actually. But I'm putting in a lot of work to make this happen, so don't make my life harder than necessary. And number 3, stay on topic. Related tangents are fine, but don't dig up unrelated personal trauma and try not to box blow the belt. With that, that's it. Let's go around and have our panelists briefly introduce themselves. And I'm going to go in the order of largest combined YouTube and TikTok followings to smallest. So, Andrew Wilson, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Andrew Wilson. I'm the host of The Crucible. I'm a political analyst, a political satirist, and I engage in debates of all kinds all around the world. I appreciate being on the panel tonight with all of you, except for
Great.
Dylan, except for Down syndrome Burns. But everybody else is awesome, and I'm glad to see all of you here.
Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Up next, you know what? That's a great segue. Dylan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Down syndrome Burns. I'm a war journalist and political streamer. I stream Monday through Fridays, and I cover the war in Ukraine on the ground, embedded with the Ukrainian armed forces, film documentary, stuff like that. Release them on YouTube, free charge.
Cool, cool. Thank you so much. Up next, we got the Misfit Patriot. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, the Misfit Patriot. I do the TMP Uncensored podcast on Rumble. I have a YouTube. I don't really use it, but you can find me on X and Instagram. I do debates sometimes, but mostly I just talk shit on Twitter, and that's about it. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Thank you so much for being here. Up next, we've got She's Right. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, She's Right. You can support me at she'srightshow.com. And I'm a concerned American.
Cool, cool. Up next, we've got Andrew JD. Would you like to introduce yourself?
What's going on? Name's Andrew. I'm taking the position that none of this matters.
Cool, cool. Thanks. And we'll be able to go, like the people who reach out to me to ask for openings, y'all will have an opportunity to do so.
True.
Up next, we've got Unreasonable Man. Would you like to introduce yourself? Oh, you're muted. Oh, do you got it?
I got it.
Cool, cool. All
Thing.
right, go ahead.
Got me now. All right, cool. Yeah, for some reason it changed my mic when I came in. No worries. I'm Grid One Motorsports. I do a podcast 4 or 5 times a week. Like to do cool stuff on the internet and talk about interesting things. That's about it, I guess.
Cool, cool. Thank you. Up next, we've got Logix. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Logix. Do a lot of social commentary, politics a little bit, and debunking on YouTube.
Cool, cool. Thank you. And then lastly, we have Confluence. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Confluence 358 on YouTube. I make a lot of political commentary videos and a lot of reaction stuff to the Whatever podcast. And yeah, you can find me there. I'm center right most of the time, but here I'm a centrist.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right. And with that, I will go. With that, the topic for today is what about the Epstein files? I'm leaving it intentionally open-ended because there are so many ways I expect that people are interested in taking this. How important are the files? Why have they not been discussed less, or why have they not been discussed as much lately? What do we make of what we know at this point? Tonight we can discuss all of this and more. So per my request in the Discord, I'm going to begin with the people who reached out to me beforehand to request opening statements, and then I'll ask if anyone else would like to make one before we launch into the main discussion. So Andrew JD, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. My position on the Epstein files is that nobody really cares. Everyone loves to pretend that they do. Whatever side gets the opportunity to wield anything related to the Epstein files in a way that can damage the other side, they will take that opportunity to do so. And when they do not have an opportunity to either defend or attack, they will ignore it like it doesn't exist, because none of us really care. Nobody really cares. There's probably nothing in there that's ultra damaging to Trump. Maybe he will get a little red in the cheeks from whatever is contained within. If there was anything criminal, he'd be in jail, or at least he would have been charged already. And if there was anything, my guess would be if there was anything like political career ending, that would have gotten leaked already. So my overall position is that this is a waste and there's real issues to talk about.
All right, thank you so much. Up next, we've got She's Right Show. Would you like to make an opening?
Really? I mean, I just kind of think that leaders should have integrity and do what they say. And I think it's pretty concerning to see a whole political party backflip. And I think that raises a lot of good concerns about potential corruption and dishonesty in our system.
All right, and lastly, for the people who reached out to me, we have Confluence. Would you like to make an opening statement?
Yeah, mine's about 2 minutes, so if it gets like boring, just feel free to cut me off, okay?
Yeah, I'll go. 2 minutes
But-
should be fine. Like usually around 5 minutes is like my hard cap. So yeah,
Okay.
that should be fine.
Perfect. Okay. Everything around Jeffrey Epstein, both his life and his death, should be heavily scrutinized, and all of us on all sides should be asking more questions about the Epstein files and what they contain. None of it makes sense, including his life, his death, and what we've been told about the files. Despite being born to middle class parents, a teacher's assistant, and a gardener, his life was a repeated pattern of failing upwards. From dropping out of college and landing a job as a teacher adult in a prestigious school for the children of the elite, for which he was fired, to then getting hired at an investment firm, dodging an SEC allegation of insider trading, getting fired again with no prosecution, then joining a debt collection company, Towers Financial, whose sole purpose was seemingly to vampirize other companies, which ended up being implicated in one of the largest Ponzi schemes in US history, to which Epstein's partner received 25 years in jail, and Epstein received, you guessed it, nothing, to then magically opening his own investment firm where he wouldn't accept clients whose net worth was below $1 billion, and somehow becoming a jet-setting socialite that rubbed elbows with the world's elites, including billionaires, tech geeks, royalty, Saudi princes, celebrities, prime ministers, you name it. He did heinous things. I'm sure I don't need to repeat them. He dodged prosecutions magically, serving a paltry 13 months in jail thanks to a sweetheart deal from Alex Acosta, during which he was allowed out of jail 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, before finally being later brought down when the political pressure became insurmountable. His death is just as mysterious, with missing footage, failing cameras, broken protocol, falsified guard logs, and inconsistent reporting. So the man that is Jeffrey Epstein is a true enigma, and remember, those never age, and clearly something is suspicious with every element of his life. I see myself as being in the center on this because I think everyone is likely involved, both the left and the right, with covering up the Epstein files. Trump's administration has repeatedly switched their stories from promising to release the client list to having the client list on Pam Bondi's desk, to then the client list having never actually existed in the first place, to then it being a Democrat hoax, to then Trump being an FBI informant, to then, oh wait, just kidding about that last part. None of it adds up, none of it makes sense, and I think everyone is hiding something and blames the other side when it's convenient for themselves politically. The death of Charlie Kirk has, perhaps conveniently so, moved the conversation away from Epstein, but I suppose that's why we're here having this panel, because we're not being given answers and everyone is to blame.
Great, thank you. That is everyone who reached out to me beforehand. Now, before we move into the main discussion, does anyone else really pressingly want to make an opening statement? Otherwise, I'll turn it over to y'all. Not seeing any hands? All right, then the floor is open. Anyone can take it anywhere they'd like to. I have my own questions, but that's just in case, the conversation is dried up or y'all need some direction where you want to take it.
Yeah, I'll start. So I kind of agree with pretty much what Andrew JD said, where it's being weaponized on both sides, and it really doesn't matter that much anymore. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2006 under George Bush. He was arrested in 2019 under Donald Trump. 2 Republican administrations have arrested him, and 0 Democrats. So there was 3 administrations prior to Trump, and now Trump's giving blame for everything regarding Jeffrey Epstein, when we know that there was almost 20 years where anything that was in the files that was of pertinent information probably was deleted or is no longer available. So what about the Epstein files? My question is always the same. What Epstein files? I don't think they exist. So everyone's asking for something that Donald Trump can't produce and blaming him for 3 prior administrations that might have had plenty of time with, in conjunction with, all the nefarious actors that might even be related to the Jeffrey Epstein files, deleting shit as they go. But essentially, after this long, give it the fuck up, because while we all want to see the Epstein files, that's like saying I want to see Santa Claus. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It's gone. Bye.
So what?
Yeah, I can agree it's a Wizard of Oz sort of thing, right? Like none of this actually. I agree with Andrew JD. I disagree with Confluence. While as a constitutional conservative, my stance has always be, hey, absolute transparency. The people have a right to know. It all should be released with just redactions to protect actual victims and not political or financial wizards that we don't care about. The reality is I don't think there ever was any files. I don't think, and we know that because the FBI said we don't have any files. We're gathering information now. They never said that they had a stack full of files back in 2019 and 2020. They never said that. They just said, yeah, we're investigating. And then we go into Biden, and Biden could have released anything he wanted to release, right? And to believe, and I'll agree with Andrew JD again. If they had had anything on Trump, you can be guaranteed they would have released it. They would have ended that man's career if they could have, and they didn't. So there's nothing there. You absolutely know. I mean, this is just what happens is anytime somebody starts looking too closely at tariffs, anytime somebody starts looking too closely at the new prison systems that they're selling off or anything, anything that nobody wants you to look at, they trot out Epstein's ghost and put it on parade so that both sides take the bait. Now you have Democrats clamoring to release this data, and nobody cares because it doesn't matter.
So
That's
why do
just
you
where
think
it
it was why do you think it was promised to us? Like you guys are saying there's no client list. Why did JD Vance say release the
campaign
list? Why did
promises are like water. They
Yeah,
dry up.
Right, but then I
Bondi,
guess we can't complain when we can't Trump can't complain when people are still talking about Epstein when all of his administration said that they would release the client list. They had the client list and they keep changing their story every like 5 minutes. Like then of course people are going to be like, "Well, you said there was more files. Are you going to release them?" Then they release the footage and the footage has
Okay.
been edited in Adobe Premiere and has like a minute cut of it. Is not what Kash Patel promised. Like these are the issue is just under delivered promises, right? Like so I guess what's the take on like why are they doing that? Why not just say we didn't have them in the first place?
I guess that's
They've
where
been extremely performative. I mean, the Pam Bondi binder scandal was pretty embarrassing to get all these social influencers and for everybody who participated in it directly, especially to go out there to hold up these binders to give that shit-eating grin like you're participating in history, and it had nothing of relevance in it. And that's why afterwards they said, well, we have to make all these legal requests. We have to, subpoena the grand jury testimony, not all the testimony, but the grand jury testimony. I have the files on my desk. Never mind. Well, I might have them on my desk, but I'm not going to release them. And they just ran in circles after making these big declarative statements. It's the party or the administration, more the people around Trump than Trump himself, set up the rake to stomp on it themselves. It's mostly a crisis of their own creation.
I
I'll
guess
agree
that's
with you
where
there, and
that's where I come in with this. I'm kind of in between because I feel like this is all something that Trump and his administration created, and now they got the shit on their face for not producing what they promised. I don't think whatever Trump's name is in these files, I don't think it's anything incriminating. I think he just had probably business ventures with Epstein, and they were friends, so he visited and whatnot. I don't think Trump has necessarily done anything criminal, at least nothing in the files that exist have been. And Kash Patel, Bondi, all of them was just talking out of their ass until they got in office and realized, oh shit, it's really nothing to see. But I'm just reveling in the fact that the right is tripping all over themselves to either want to see it or not see it. That's where I'm at with it.
Well, most people on the right have called out Bondi, myself included. A lot of people have acknowledged that they have fucked this up. But here's what happened, okay? A bunch of people started screaming, release the Epstein files, putting pressure on Pam Bondi to release something that didn't exist. Then she said that she was going to release something that didn't exist. And then when she couldn't deliver something that didn't exist, everybody said, why did you promise a thing that didn't exist? Because she fucked up. And look, I'm not going
No,
to give her...
she fucked up doesn't explain why. Why?
Because everyone was pressuring her to release something that she did not have.
So why did she
They
lie?
all fucked up. They all said
you-
that they would release more than they
Yes,
did.
but
Like
were you listening earlier? There were 3 prior administrations that this could have
Yeah.
been released.
Which one gave him the sweetheart deal?
What? Bush?
Yep.
Yeah, Bush. Fuck Bush. All right. What,
Yeah,
I don't know what that's.
Can the
Why
can the
did Trump
conclusion can the
also
conclusion
job?
here not just be that Pam Bondi is fucking terrible at her job and she just shouldn't be in that position? Can that?
Well, I mean,
can that
Who put her in that job?
I mean, for all you,
That's
for all
one
you
well,
caveat.
I would agree with you.
yeah.
It's Trump's fault, but like I think the conclusion is like, okay, Pam, you fucking suck at this, and you're gone. Sorry.
Well, she should
I
be fired.
want her. I want her fired.
I mean,
But-
yeah.
But it could just
It's
be
not
as
just
easy
her,
as
it's
saying,
JD
the
Vance,
FBI says,
too.
Hey, we've got this
Kash
file
Patel.
and we're holding it. Nobody can see it. So then they get in there and they say, okay, bring me the file. Well, yeah, we'll bring it to you. But they never do because it doesn't exist. It was all just smoke
Well,
and
I
mirrors
mean,
the whole time.
If it was just Pam Bondi, maybe. It wasn't just Pam Bondi, though. Kash Patel went on the Joe Rogan podcast, most popular podcast in the United States, and he said not only would they release the evidence of the footage of the security cam video, which wasn't outside of his cell, by the way, was on a wall completely the opposite side. So he's already not delivering what he promised. That those cameras were not working. Then after
Do you mean
promising the
Patel or
raw footage, he
Bongino?
delivers the footage. It is not raw. It was edited in Adobe Premiere, and it didn't have all of it. There was time missing, about a minute that they said had to do with the system cutting out a minute at the end of every day. But he underdelivered what he promised. And then Dan Bongino, I believe his name is pronounced,
Bongino.
the deputy under him, he did like a protest, it was like a student walkout. He went home. He wouldn't come to work for a week.
yeah, and Theo Vaughn had a podcast with JD Vance where JD Vance said he'd release it. And then Donald Trump himself was on Lex Friedman and when asked said he would release it. So we have
But
everybody saying that this client list exists.
You-
So like,
all
why
right,
is
you
everyone
understand-
making stuff
you
up?
don't have them
Separation-
saying it. That's
yeah, they said they should be released. There's separation of powers. They don't have they're leaving it up to the judiciary to do the judiciary's job. That's the executive. They don't. That's
right.
what separation
You
of powers
keep
is for.
saying this like they had it and then they just decided not to have it. It's like if Misfit Patriot tells me, "Hey man, I've got the dirt on your boy over there," and I say, "Okay, cool, give it to me," and he says, "Yeah, I'll get it to you." 2 weeks later, I say, "Hey man, I really got to have this. I got to have it." "Yeah, I'll get it to you." So then I go over there and he says, "Look, man, I never had anything. Or actually, I had something, but I got 2 sheets of paper that just says bullshit." And I go, "Dude, you just fucked me. Like now I promised all these people this stuff and it doesn't exist. And now you fucked me."
So who
You
did
guys
the
are
original?
literally
Who did the
relying-
original
God,
fucking though?
you-
I guess.
Nobody, we were relying on the FBI to say what they had. They never disclosed anything. Now, the real questions are, did they really have terabytes of data?
It's
From
important
the
to
video,
remember
from the video
they
cameras inside the compound. I don't think
they
they
did-
did. I don't think they ever had any of that. I think
they
that never
did
Why-
existed.
release.
Why
They
wouldn't they
released-
have that? They had like there was like
I don't think it
600
ever
cameras
existed.
all over Epstein's property and like
Sure.
3 of his
I don't think they
properties.
were recording a damn
In-
thing.
In private residence, like in private bedrooms, they were all over. None of those cameras. So
Hey,
we
maybe
trust
it
the
was
FBI now that
maybe
they
it was
didn't find
deleted.
anything, but we trust them that they found like 300 gigabytes or whatever it was of like
Hold on, maybe-
camera footage.
First of all, they did release files, right? They didn't release files that you like, but they released files. I think there was like 80,000 pages of documents.
Yeah,
and
but it
they-
was nothing that the
Hold on,
public
hold
didn't
on,
already know.
Hold on. And who's to say that all the information that you're talking about that did exist at one point wasn't deleted under the Biden administration?
We would
Right, you
know
can't-
if they released files.
Why wouldn't they
Biden-
clearly say that?
Like, why are they hiding from that then?
Well, because they can't prove who deleted something because the thing is not there. So they're just saying it's been deleted.
longer
Is that
exists.
We don't
is
know who
this
deleted
is that what this whole panel is? Is it just bitching about the way in which this information has been released by the Trump administration, or did you guys have actual
Feels like it.
criticism? Or did you have actual criticisms or accusations to make against the Trump administration
Do you not
that they're
think that
covering?
incompetence
That
is
they're
concerning?
hang on. Let me
That
ask
lies
the
matter?
question. Shut up, lady, while I ask the question. So the question's really simple. Are you making an accusation that Trump is somehow nefariously tied up with Epstein? Are you making an accusation that there's a cover up afoot? Why don't you just say what you mean so we can get to the heart of it, and so I don't have to listen to an Epstein Yelp review, and we can have an actual debate here.
All right, Andrew's being dangerously based. I don't like it. All right, my accusation would be that I hit it in my opening. My accusation would be Trump is probably embarrassed by the fact that he was friends with a criminal.
That's my accusation.
That's what's in the files. It's gonna be like these dudes were pretty decently close friends, and he is definitely
Until he
sex
banned him from
trafficker.
all of the properties, right? Until he
It's
banned him of
still-
all the Mar-a-Lago properties, and then on
Would
top
you-
of
would
that,
would you still say it's not an
then
embarrassment when that
no,
comes out?
I don't
like they
think
were
so.
friends for years?
I think, like for instance, Chuck Schumer had introduced a bill which was trying to get the Epstein files released, but he attached it to a defense bill. And Chuck Schumer was heavily donated to by Epstein himself. They knew that the Republicans were going to block that because they attached it to another bill, right? This was all partisan politics and game playing. None of them had any intention whatsoever of actually releasing any of this. So the question here, really, for me, is what are you exactly accusing Trump of doing, or Trump's administration of doing? Because if all you're saying is they waffled on how to release this stuff, fine, I'll concede that point. The right has heavily criticized him for doing that, but do you have something more, or is it just like the last 17 weeks of everybody bitching about Epstein without actually making any sort of accusations about anything?
Well, there's plenty of accusations. I just don't know if any of us believe any of them.
Well, then, it's
mean,
just
I-
not going to
I
go.
don't know if we got
curious.
I don't know if we got anyone on here that is deep in the conspiracies.
I'm curious,
Look-
actually. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but what do you think about the Wall Street Journal, the Enigmas Never Age, that whole thing? I mean, Trump is obviously suing them, but it seems ballsy and just nonsensical if the Wall Street Journal is actually doesn't know the provenance of that and is just running with that. So to me,
Oh yeah,
now,
right. Give me a break.
talking about
Do you know
the-
how many times these major media outlets have had to retract stories later on about
yeah, but this would
Trump?
be like
about-
a huge
About Trump
defamatory
story? Yeah, but they do it all the time, man. They do
Yeah.
it
Okay, but
all
not this
the
one.
time.
Are you talking about
This
the
one just
letter?
be-
Woman.
Yeah,
Are you talking about
the doodle.
like,
But
Oh,
until
can I
that
ask you a
happens,
question?
I mean, we can't just we could say that about anything. Like, oh, you know, it might get
Confluence.
retracted. What about the fact that it looks pretty credible at this moment in time?
This one wasn't
Doesn't
credible.
look.
Hold on, no, it doesn't
Hang on.
look credible.
Does it
What
look?
looks credible?
Does it look credible, or are you just a fucking Democrat and you want it to be true? Like, which thing do you think is more likely from
Why
my
do you think it's
position?
This is-
credible?
That suddenly
I
we're
could say
going to
the
start
same
believing
thing
the
to
Wall
you,
Street
or
Journal
you're not a Democrat, so you think it's
without,
fake.
without having. Well, what's the actual evidence here? Can you show me what the actual evidence is that they're
That it
presenting?
came from his birthday book, and
Oh,
that it's his
right.
signature.
It
What are you
came from
talking
the
about?
Epstein's estate, didn't
Trump
it?
says nope, not my
This I
signature.
knew.
JD
Is
Vance
that
comes
really
out
your
and says,
argument? He says
"Hey,
it's not mine.
Shh. Let me make
Take
my
his word for
argument.
it?
Let me make the argument, and then you'll know my argument. So the argument's simple, right? Trump says, nope, not my signature. JD Vance comes out, says the whole thing is a hoax. The burden's on who? You. You know who doesn't have the burden to prove themselves innocent? Trump. You guys have to show a satisfying amount beyond a reasonable doubt that this is the case for the public to believe it, because right now they don't. The reason that they don't is because of all the misinformation that fucking Democrats have put out about Trump before. And the fact that we know Democrats don't give a shit about this. We know that with that Willie Jefferson Clinton was out on Epstein Island all the time. He went at least 4 times, recorded, right? No, Democrats don't care about that. They don't
told
care
you
about
that.
their own administration.
You swear we care
What
about
do you
Bill
mean?
Clinton?
That's
What-
in the
Wait,
official
Bill-
released files.
No, Bill
wait,
Clinton.
you're saying
there's
there's
no
people
proof
don't
Bill
believe
Clinton's
Almost
been
done.
on the
Almost done,
island.
bro. Almost done. One
Been
second.
going.
Democrats don't give, and you'll get plenty of time to respond. Plenty of time to respond. Calm the fuck down. So look,
Oh.
Democrats don't care. They don't care. They're not looking at this in a credible way to try to clean their own house either. You're just trying to hurt Trump with it. You don't actually care about it.
Okay, so there
First-
was an actual letter. Hold on. There was an actual letter from Bill Clinton in that little birthday book thing too, right? And it was a handwritten letter. My question to everybody who believes that that was a real letter from Donald Trump, did you actually look at it? It says voiceover at the top of it, right? It is a voiceover it's a transcript that doesn't make any sense. It sounds ridiculous. And then somebody outlined the silhouette of a woman, and then they put Donald Trump's signature at the bottom of it. So,
They?
Andrew,
Who's they?
Andrew, you're
Who is they?
muted.
The
Whoever
fakest
released
thing
it.
ever.
Andrew
So,
talks to
Wait,
his own
so
chat
wait,
sometimes.
I'm trying to understand how they get it out his birthday book and then they present it as the evidence, and Andrew's like, "Where's the evidence?" I've never heard of such bullshit.
No.
Just
That's
because
not
you
what I
don't
said.
believe it,
Validity
you
of
don't
Yes,
believe
no,
it.
no,
So
I'm gonna
therefore,
give
it's
you-
not credible.
I'm going to give you the counter here. The counter is this, that when you make an accusation, if you say, Andrew signed my birthday card, and I say, that guy's a fucking liar, I didn't sign it, and that's not my signature, you then need to prove that it is, fuckhead. I don't have to go and prove that I didn't do anything. You got to prove that I did. So prove it.
I mean,
What
Andrew,
burden of
just-
proof would that be? What does that look like?
Andrew,
exactly.
I wanna
outside of the
know.
You hear what
signature
I
being
just
a
said?
damn
Prove
near
it.
duplicate.
Prove it's his.
What is the proof?
Prove it's
What
his
would prove-
signature, and
What
he
is the
actually
proof
signed
beyond
it.
those signatures being damn near identical?
You could have eyewitnesses who were there who saw it. You could have multiple corroborating
Eyewitnesses,
evidences,
oh my
which would
God,
prove
to sign
that
a
Trump
letter.
You
that
could have
Trump was
something other
false.
than a transcript.
You could do
could
all
have a-
sorts of things.
Imagine
You
this
could have a
barrier
fake
standard
shit.
for everything. You have
It'd
to
be one
have
of the good
eyewitness.
times.
I know.
It'd be
Imagine
a
having
fucking-
evidence for
Imagine
actual
everything have to
evidentiary
have
claims.
A few good
eyewitness
examples of
to
Trump
be
doing, 'cause
credible.
now
Get
it
the
will
fuck
be
outta
brought before
here.
a court of law. And so we will get to see this information come out through the legal process
Yeah.
and see exactly what led the New York Times to make this conclusion that this was credible enough to release. And so this is something where we can all literally just wait and see. And so it's
Agreed.
also a story that's probably not going to go away.
I'm
Well,
just
I mean-
curious, Andrew, what do you think about like the Woody Allen signature, the Alan Dershowitz, the Bill? Do you think the whole book is a fraud, or is your theory that just the Trump one is a fraud, or are you agnostic on it?
Well, it remains to be seen. You know exactly what's going on with the birthday book. So here's the thing that's really funny is like you guys all know this. You all cover media. Initial reports on almost everything that the media puts out there are wrong, and we know that they're wrong almost all the time. Which is why we've now gotten into the era in the last 2 years, especially, of commentators like all of you. The second a story comes out saying, "Wait, before I give a take, I'm going to wait for a little bit more information to come out, a little bit more clarification to come out, because if I don't, I'm going to get egg on my face." Except for stupid Democrats, can't help themselves, right? Going to rush head first into the, see, Trump's a pedophile, is on pedophile island with pedophile Epstein. It's like, shut up. Just wait for the evidence to come out, or show me the proof. Show me the actual proof other than, well, they just reported that. We have this card here, so therefore it's true. Fuck that.
The problem
Andrew,
is,
your president
Andrew,
just went on TV and said, "Don't take Tylenol because of whatever. Like, stop talking about Democrats being stupid. This is ridiculous. It has
My
nothing to do
president
with
did
being
not go out
stupid.
on TV and
It's
say,
enough-
stop taking
it's enough-
Tylenol because whatever. You
it's
just made
because
that
there's
shit
enough.
up.
It's because it's enough evidence to where
Dumbass.
it's very much so probable that he did write the letter. And keep in mind, I'm also somebody that said I don't
What do you
think
mean?
Trump
How
did
much
anything necessarily illegal. I just think that his name is in there and he's embarrassed for it to come out for whatever
Okay.
reason his name is
Let's
involved
see if we can get
with
through the
Epstein.
facts.
I don't
Let's see
think
if we-
I don't
okay.
necessarily think he's done anything illegal.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't make the claim you did.
I'm
But
just
let's just go
saying.
through the facts. Do you agree with me that Trump said he didn't sign the letter? He didn't sign that. And do you agree that JD Vance came out with a tweet and said that it was a hoax? That is not correct. It's not correct information. Do you agree with both of those facts?
I agree, but that means shit.
Okay, so if you agree with those facts, then what we have is we have contested evidence. One person says that this is the case, the other one doesn't. So now we're looking for the corroborating evidence to prove one false and one not false.
Like
You're like the
all of
guy
the
who
witnesses
comes out
agree?
and says, "Oh, that chick over there claimed she was raped last
No, you
night."
goofy.
And
No, that is
then,
not the
and then
same
the guy
thing.
put him in
No.
jail, and then we
All
find
I'm-
out later that
Did
never
I say
happened.
put him in jail?
No,
All
no,
I
I'm
said
giving
was
you
it
an
looks like it's
analogy. Do
credible.
you know what an analogy is?
Andrew,
How would you feel if
stop.
you didn't eat
Stop
breakfast
it.
this
I'm
morning?
not saying,
How would you feel if you
I'm
didn't
not
eat
saying
breakfast this
it's-
morning?
All I said was the evidence seems a bit credible. I didn't say put him in jail. I didn't say he
Yeah,
did
the
it.
evidence
And I
also
sat here
seems
and
a bit
told you
not
I-
credible.
But you,
It's
it's like
contested.
you just wanna play defense for Trump, and it's pathetic. You're like, oh yeah,
You just
JD
wanna play
Vance,
offense
JD
on-
Vance
look,
didn't do it.
you wouldn't-
JD Vance
Yeah,
said he didn't do it.
You know what? I bet
JD
you
Vance
anything
said he didn't do
that
it.
if I go back through your content and get
Fuck
your
outta here.
takes on Destiny when it was coming out that he was, doing things with underage kids, I bet your take is let's stop and wait till we got more information. I'll bet anything that was your take. Am I going to find that if we go back through your shit? Am I going to find you saying
Why do
with
you think
Destiny
I'm saying
to
Trump
slow
didn't
down
do
and
anything
wait for
illegal?
more? Let
I'm
me ask the
literally
question.
telling you I don't have
Let me
proof
ask
of
the
him doing
question.
anything illegal.
Let
It's
me
the
ask
same
the
thing.
fucking
It's the
question,
same thing.
Spurg. Shut up, Spurg. If I go
It's the
back to
same
your
thing.
shit, shut up, Spurg. If I go
I'm
back to your
consistent,
shit,
you goofy.
stop
I'm
talking.
I'm
Stop
consistent.
talking so I
no,
can ask
you
the
already
question.
said the same shit about if you go back
Shut-
to see
all you're
Destiny,
doing
you
is
will
I'm gonna
have
mute.
sense.
All right, I'm gonna.
It's the same
I'm gonna mute
process.
both of you.
It's
It's the same
filibustering.
thing. You're saying
Still
the same
filibustering.
shit
Both of you.
over and over,
Still
though.
filibustering.
You're
The two
saying
of them
the
are
same
filibustering.
shit.
I don't know if
still
they're all muted on
filibustering.
your end, but they are on mine. All right, we're all gonna
not
take a deep
muted.
breath. Oh, they're not muted on your. Okay, it might
Not
just
on
be
our
for me.
end. We can still hear him. No,
Okay.
I was gonna ask Logix. He said.
Can I finish my exchange? Like, I want to ask
No,
this
I
guy
know
a
you,
You said
Andrew.
the same shit. I said yes.
No,
I'm
no,
running
I
the
want to
same
ask him the
defense for Trump
question
that I would run for
without him
Destiny.
filibustering. Let me ask him the question without him filibustering.
All right. yeah,
If
unmute
I
that.
go through your fucking content,
both
and
muted
I'll do it
mics.
right now, I'll have the audience go through it, and we get to your take on what happened with Destiny, am
You're
I going to
still talking.
find
I
you
don't know if
saying,
anybody can-
guys, let's take a second
The
and
thing
make
about the
sure that
book,
we
in my
got all
opinion,
the
is that we
facts
already-
before we rush to
that's
judgment?
Years old. I
I've
mean,
done
we've known
that.
about
I've
for
done
a
that
long
for
time. I don't
Destiny.
know
I've done
why
that for
it's new
Andrew
to-
Tate. I've done that for Candace Owens. I've done that for Donald Trump. I will
But you're not
give
going to
him
do
the
it for
benefit-
Trump.
I
Not
ju-
going to do it for Trump.
You're just arguing with anybody.
Yeah,
Andrew. I
fucking
said
blown
he's not
out,
guilty
dummy.
of
You
everything.
got blown
you
out,
fucking
dummy. Just
idiot.
sit there.
You're not making any sense. I literally said Trump isn't
blown
guilty of
out.
everything. You sound stupid as fuck.
You made your point, Andrew. Andrew, you
Logic.
made your point. I want to get this Misfit Patriot. Let me just get this reset. Andrew, you made your point. Okay.
I think that
Uh,
one of the. Oh, sorry.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
I'm trying to get this back onto the Epstein files. I have a question I would like to ask the panel about, but Andrew, Confluence. Sorry. Is there something that you wanted to ask about?
Yeah, there's just a brief thing, I guess. Like, I think one of the problems with Trump is that his running defense makes people suspicious of him. Like with the doodle thing, as an example, I'm not saying this is proof at all to Andrew and others. I'm just saying that when he's asked about his response was like Prince Andrew's response about how he didn't sweat, where Trump said, well, I don't doodle. And then it comes out that he like does a doodle every year in a charitable way to that organization. So it's like, why say you don't doodle if you doodle every year? Like, it's just the defense is so like, why say that? So it just makes people like me suspicious.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's
I'm gonna,
100% him,
so
but
let me give you an easy counter here. So, for instance, tonight I have my notes up, right? And I'm taking notes, and the audience can see that I'm taking notes and things like that, like I do in most debates. Now, usually the audience can't see me when I'm taking notes. I usually don't put them up in a way that they can see. So if somebody said, I saw your notes on that debate, and I said to them, look, I don't put my notes up during debates, right? To my recollection is like, I almost never do, right? And most people talk when they talk to each other. That's how they talk. They don't use exact precision with like current event precision with the things that they're discussing, especially when it comes to something as stupid as doodling. Trump
But he does
probably
one
doesn't.
every year,
Shh,
every single year.
shh, let me finish the point. If you ask me the
Okay.
question, I'll
Special
finish the point.
occasion, dude.
Yeah.
So the thing is like, yeah, that's great, right? But this guy probably doesn't actually doodle, and he's probably just like, whatever, who cares? Not even thinking about it in those terms. You though,
You have any evidence for that?
the psychotic tinfoil hat person, what they tend to do is they tend to take things that they would give literally excuse anybody else for,
Just roll
and
fucking
hold
fan
some
fiction about his motivation.
ridiculously
What the
high
fuck are you
standard
talking
for
about?
somebody else when
A
they say
ridiculous high
things off the
standard?
cuff.
Like, you need fucking
I
several
did.
people watching this on paper and doing math
Can I finish my
Action
exchange
activity.
before you spurt it
No,
out,
you
lady?
can't, because you've been
No, I
lying
can't.
the whole fucking time.
Everyone,
It's kind of like a squirrel.
chill for a second.
Maybe
All right,
closer to
Andrew,
your
hold
mic.
on. Andrew, finish your point.
Yeah. So
She's
anyway,
right. You
well,
can
that's
follow
my
up.
point. I'm just saying that that it seems like people are very uncharitable towards Trump or even towards politicians in general when it comes to their off the cuff statements like that. Right? He probably isn't a doodler, and yeah, fine. Once a year, he does a doodle in something. He doesn't care. He's not even thinking about it in those
For a
terms, man.
special occasion. For a special occasion too.
Don't you think
not
that
like
that's
he does it.
reasonable? Like,
No, I don't. I don't.
Okay.
I
Oh,
think
you
you
don't,
do
of course not.
charitable
I think
doodle.
if-
Hold
I
on,
like
pause real
Trump.
quick.
I
She's
like
right.
Trump.
I know She's right wanted to say something, so if you want to speak up, then you can go now.
Why are Republicans blocking the bipartisan effort led by Representative Khanna and Representative Massey to release everything?
because they keep adding other shit into it.
well, yeah. So the first release, my understanding was they added that to a Defense Authorization Act.
That's not what I'm
Uh,
asking about.
yeah. Can you? I'll give you the timeline. Like I can pull the timeline up.
That's not what I'm asking about.
Okay. What are you asking
no,
about?
you know exactly what I'm asking about. Do you support the
Okay.
bipartisan effort of Ro Khanna and Massey?
Yeah, I think that all the Trump files should be released to the public, every single one of them, regardless of what they say. Most Republicans, by and large, agree
Okay.
with me. Most Republican constituency,
Well,
by and large, agree with me.
most Republicans in Congress don't
Shh.
for some reason.
Actually, what's happened
All
is,
Democrats do.
like when it comes to Kash Patel, there was 3 federal judges which said to Kash Patel that there was a prosecutorial deal which was going on, and there could be very good reasons behind the scenes as to why it is that they're not releasing those files because it could compromise investigations by the DOJ
Have any
into
evidence
other
of that?
things. Yes, I do. Would you like
Any
for
evidence
us
of
to?
that?
Would you like to go through the Kash Patel timeline where he discusses how 3 different federal judges gave injunctions for him doing these releases? You didn't know that?
Correct.
There's
Did you
one in
not
New
know
York.
that?
It
Can you answer
it
my
is
question?
accurate.
Shh. Can you answer my question? Did you know that or not, lady? Yeah, take another drink. Did you know it or not?
How do you believe?
Did
how do
you
believe
know
that
it
evidence?
or
How do you know
not?
it's enough?
Did you
Is that
know that?
corroborated?
Can you
Did
answer
2
my
other people see
question?
it?
Can you answer my question? Did you know? Did you know that there was
Jesus.
federal injunctions or
Mhm.
not? Did you know it or not?
Yeah.
Okay. When when did that happen? Do you remember that? No.
Who
You
cares?
didn't know. You had no fucking idea. You have no idea what you're talking. Just sit there. Just sit
Do you
there.
have a timeline
Let
up
the
there in front of
adults
you?
talk. This is ridiculous. You don't know anything about this case. Nothing. Nothing.
So there's
Right.
So let's keep the personal
Well, I'm on the
comment.
side of
Let's keep
releasing
the
fucking
personal
evidence
attacks to a
about this.
minimum.
That's not a personal attack. Saying they don't know anything
Excuses,
about the
excuses.
case. That's not a
Well, the
personal
question-
attack.
the question was why do Republicans
Thank you.
why are Republicans trying to block the Epstein files, and they're not? Like I gave you the answer to that question. Thomas Massey is one of the staunchest supporters of line item things in Congress, and now he's going against his own norms of tying it to different things that he knows. I don't know if you're familiar with the term poison pill, right? Where they just try to throw something in order to get it blocked or to get it voted down, so they can come out and say, "Oh, look, they're trying to block it." He's basically pulling Democrat tactics on Republicans by saying the Republicans, his own party, which he's not even really part of, he's a libertarian, is trying to block the Epstein files. Again, what Andrew said is accurate. There's also there's a federal case in New York where they've already prosecuted it, and some of the information is redacted, and that information, the New York judge is not releasing. That's not Trump.
So
He has no authority over that.
so just to back up what's being said here, federal judges have repeatedly blocked the release of grand jury materials related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, with U.S. District Judge Richard Berman, the most recent,
Very
denying the
sad.
request by the Trump administration in August of 2025. You didn't know any of this. You didn't know that there has been a concerted effort, not just in a bipartisan wing, but just in the grand jury itself, of releasing that testimony as well. They're trying to get these files out, and you don't know what you're talking about.
They chose the grand jury testimony because it's largely like a few dozen pages of not like there's 90% of it's not going to be released by the grand jury testimony. Grand jury testimony can only deal with the suspect in the case and the direct victim. So if you're talking about people who are, let's say, parties or friends or connections to the perpetrator of the crime, it's not going to be covered by grand jury testimony. The vast majority of the testimony was done away from the grand jury in tiny rooms where suspects or people who are informing the government about what's going on is telling them detail after detail after detail. The vast majority of those trove of documents were not confirmed. And you're right about Burnell, but what he said was the government is the logical party to make comprehensive disclosures to the public of the Epstein files. So Berman, the person you referred to, he said it's the government's job to make this decision to release those files.
And there's a bipartisan effort. Hang on. And there's a bipartisan effort going on right now to get these files released. If Democrats and would have ever done any of these on a clean bill, it might have been a completely different
The discharge
situation.
petition is a clean bill.
The discharge position, or I'm sorry,
The discharge petition has nothing to
it.
do with defense spending, has nothing to do with anything besides releasing the files. And that's why Lauren Boebert signed on. That's why Thomas Massey signed on. And it is one vote away from going around Mike Johnson. Now,
so you mean there is a bipartisan? So you mean there is a bipartisan effort to move it
right
out?
off the bat? There is something else that could stop them from passing the discharge petition, and that's embarrassing it's embarrassing the Speaker of the House. To have a discharge petition go around him is to undercut his authority. So I'll grant that there might be other reasons for why people might be nervous to sign on to a discharge petition, including undercutting the president and the Speaker of the House. But there is a clean pathway right now to getting that information out. But it means telling Mike Johnson to fuck off.
Yes,
Yeah, but
but again, but hang on. This would just make my point, that there is a bipartisan effort going on to release the Epstein files. And yes, there's all sorts of tangential reasons why this might not be going on, why it is that they're not releasing them. I'm fully for the release of the Epstein files. I'm sure everybody here is fully for the release of the Epstein files. I'm just saying we don't have a clear picture as to all the other mitigating factors, which is going on, which is stalling the release. Do I think that we're going to get the release of the Epstein files? I have no idea. I sure hope so.
Why do you think they would only request the grand jury testimony and not the vast majority of the testimony that might actually name someone like Trump?
Because it's possible. So here's the truth. And I'm sure that Dylan, since you've been a war correspondent, you'll probably back some of this up. The United States government has been involved in blackmail operations around the world with various governments for probably 200 years. And one of the tactics that the CIA and the NSA and Mossad and many other intelligence groups like to use, besides just them, is blackmail operations, mostly on Western politicians using underage prostitutes. And they blackmail them. Once they have sex with a prostitute, they then reveal, by the way, that was an underage prostitute. Now they have blackmail on them. Now, the entire Epstein saga is a saga of blackmail. This was a blackmail operation. It was signed on to by multiple governments. And there's probably all sorts of operatives who are in the field right this second who would be compromised by a lot of the material which is in the Epstein files. That's the actual big boy lens in which to view this. Now, I still, even then, support releasing all the Epstein files, but there could be really good national security reasons why it is that no Democrats done it, why no Republicans done it, even though they've had plenty of time to release many of the facts on the Epstein files. They haven't done it, none of them. So just pointing that out.
I do want to add, and I ask this in 100% good faith. Do we know of any high-ranking, either somebody in the Gang of Eight that has been told or like confirmed this, or like do we have any like evidence to back that up? I know there might be Mossad ties directly between Jeffrey Epstein, but I mean, like, is there anybody in the top position who's come out and like a whistleblower, maybe something of that sort?
You mean as a high-level CIA agent come out and confirmed that a bunch of top secret information?
If there's anything besides
probably
speculation.
not. No,
Dylan,
listen. There's a lot of evidence that Epstein himself and getting his fortune wouldn't have even been possible without the intervention of multiple governments. This guy came out of the scene out of nowhere. He did not have the sorts of ties you would normally have, nor the pedigree to amass such a fortune. He was a nobody when he was arrested originally for doing what? For doing things he wasn't supposed to be doing sexually with people. And suddenly the guy becomes extremely wealthy and has all sorts of government connections. Now, what will often happen in these cases is that you get arrested. Once you're arrested, then you're presented with a deal. You start working for us as an informant, et cetera, et cetera. And then we'll give you the sweetheart deal. It's exactly what happened with Epstein. So, just the fact that he was in the position he was in, all of that points to having some sort of government backing. The fact that he was bumping elbows with politicians, massive NGOs. And I mean, President Clinton was on his island multiple times. This guy was way, way, way too tied in to not have some type of intelligentsia around. Now, you can say that's not a smoking gun, I guess, but it seems like it's a hard fact to dispute.
Also,
I think it's also really interesting to point out that when after the 2003 case where he, as Andrew said, was doing bad things with young people, after that his methodology changed completely. It is almost like an operation. He would start recruiting these girls when they were 16 and 17. The second they turned 18, they're off to start hobnobbing with very rich people and very powerful officials in various places. It supports exactly what Andrew's talking about. And that's been proven. That's known with beyond a fact by the victims' own, and we can call them victims, but by these people's own testimony. And
Yeah.
by the way, they said they never heard Trump's name. They never saw him. They never met him. They had nothing to do with Trump. So
Do you think
would
that
go
Prince
along-
Andrew, Dylan, was on Epstein Island banging a chick and that MI6 didn't know about it? You think MI6
Right,
didn't
right.
know
I think he was
that Prince
snorkeling.
Andrew
I think
was
he was
down there,
I think he was
moving
enjoying the
and
coral
grooving?
reefs.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
I think that MI6 knew exactly where Prince Andrew was when he was
The
on that island. So
might
that's
not
what
wanna
I
question
think.
question you
I mean,
have
it's
to be
possible. They
asking
could also
yourself is
just,
why is all of
possibly
this-
not care. It wouldn't be the first time intelligence agencies have looked past moral degeneracy of an individual.
That's not
ask
looking
yourself
past. It's
why
the
all-
fact of the matter is that compromise operations are probably one of the most useful tools against Western governments. You can't do them against Arab governments. You can't do them against Eastern governments because they don't give a shit about age of consent laws. It doesn't bother them. But Western governments do. And so one of the most effective compromising tactics by various intelligence agencies, and I can pull up multiple operations for you that are very similar to this, where they're utilizing people to run
Andrew,
underage
Let's say I
prostitution
grant
rings.
all of this.
Mhm.
Let's say I grant all of this.
Yeah.
I would make, and you said you agree with the release, but I just want to see if we can, touch tips here a little bit.
Let's not
is it
never ever
Bad
say that
imagery.
again, bro. Holy shit.
I'll
Oof.
say it again. But
That's enough to
this-
gag a maggot, Dylan.
Mhm.
Gag a
Anyway,
maggot. It
so-
would gag a maggot, Dylan. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Epstein files should be released, and if this is the case that
Yeah.
this is going on, then we should stop trying to do these operations to get people by trafficking children and doing that. That this is something that should be shut down. If it's true, even more reason. I mean, if there is a swamp, which Trump refers to and constantly, the swamp epitomized would be a government child trafficking operation to compromise foreign intelligence assets.
Well,
If
from a
there's
Christ-
anything
yeah.
Trump should hunt down, it's something like that.
Well, and again, this guy is arrested on Trump's watch, right? And so the thing is that yes,
don't know anything
Trump,
about it.
Trump also signed an executive order specifically going after underage trafficking. By the way, just so you know, it's been a top priority of the administration. That's the whole point of the illegal immigration crackdown. Where does most human trafficking go through, Dylan? The southern border. Most of it goes through the southern border. And you guys are the first ones trying to pump in as many illegals as possible, keep the border unsecure. That's where all the
Let's
human
stop
trafficking
politically
is.
convenient trafficking then. The one that's
Yeah,
useful.
okay.
I think all
Politically
trafficking's
convenient
bad,
trafficking,
including
like
the
leaving our
politically
southern
convenient
border open for a bunch of kids to be trafficked across, Dylan.
I didn't say that I want the
Genius,
southern border
genius.
open. We're talking about
but I-
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's keep
I'm
it.
talking.
let's
Well, I'm
not get
tying
too
it all
far
in.
afield.
I'm tying it in so that you
Okay.
understand that that this is interrelated. When you're talking about let's shut down human trafficking. Oh, okay, great. You want this the big expose that shows that intelligence agencies do this, even though it's well known, and I can give you the operations which have been declassified over the
It
last
won't
40
stop
years
until you expose it.
Shh. For the last 40 years, the last 40 fucking years, they've been doing this and declassifying the evidence of
I
it
thought it was
even
200.
before that. By the way, let me just point this out. That would shut down a very minuscule amount of human trafficking. You know what would shut down the most amount? Locking down the fucking border. So if you really cared about human trafficking, that's where your focus would be.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
why
so
not
jump in with
both?
one-
Why can't we not just we could stop the politically
You-
convenient
all you try to
trafficking,
do
we
is
can stop
block
border
both.
trafficking. I think no child should be trafficked. That's my position.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Except
You can all-
everything that you guys do is you like encourage
You
riots
guys.
in California. You do everything possible to pump it
I am not from Cali.
as many illegal immigrants as possible by leaving our southern border completely unsecure. When Texas tried to secure their southern border,
Oh,
the feds
it's
came in and
about
tried to shut them
Epstein,
down.
bro.
Impeachment
This about
syndrome. Remember the
Epstein.
topic.
Yeah, we're getting
Well,
again.
hang on.
I understand you're making examples. Try to
Yeah,
keep
You know
I'm
what?
it
giving-
Actually, let's talk
relatively
about
contained.
I'm
Benghazi.
trying to say if Dylan really cares about human trafficking.
No, I understand what you're trying to say, and I'm saying fine, shut that down too. But if you're on one hand saying I care about trafficking on the border, but on the other hand aren't willing to be transparent about our government directly participating in trafficking, which is the allegation,
Y'all,
then
you
I
mean the
think you're
thing I said that's-
inconsistent, and you only do it when politically
And
viable.
did
to you.
I say that they need to release the Epstein files? I fully 100%
Yes,
support it.
but that's why I'm putting
and here's the
pressure.
other
I'm
thing
saying
that's
it
really
should be
funny about
released.
this. It's only under Christian ethics, my ethical purview, that's even wrong. From your stupid ass utilitarian position, you don't even have a leg to stand on. From your dumbass position, if
We're
it's the
not. Hold
case
on,
that
Andrew.
they can
That's
compromise,
way.
it's
now we're
not. It's
way
hang on. It's
afield.
not. It's
No,
not. I'll
it's.
tighten. Like, give me a second to tighten. Give me a second to tighten. If
Yeah, I'll
it's
give
the
you like
case,
one. All right,
if
I'll
it's
give you like 1 second.
actually the case that they can compromise an entire nation, an adversarial nation with one underage prostitute on the util calculus, Dylan, you should support that.
I
Just
don't want
saying.
any trafficking of children or use of children in that way for any foreign policy purpose.
Not very utilitarian.
By the way,
of you.
why would it be impossible to have it be a 19-year-old and just say they're a 16-year-old, even if you wanted to do that?
Sometimes they do that. That has been in some of the declassified documents. They have done
Wouldn't
that.
that be
They've
the
taken-
utilitarian position, not to have somebody bang a child?
It doesn't actually, hang on, it's not actually as effective. So if you were gonna, like, I don't know, blackmail some Western Denmark fucking
I
monarch
can
or
both
something, I
save
don't
my
know.
values and not have them bang children. It's
Yeah,
very
if it-
simple. I do it every day.
It
But if
doesn't
it's
hit the
just
same,
if it's just a
Dylan. It
question,
doesn't. Oh,
What just
Wait.
happened?
RGR probably don't know she was muted.
Oh yeah, I'm muted. Sorry. I'm gonna move Andrew back in a second. We're just.
Uh-oh.
He was able to make his point. We got to move on. Okay.
I've been trying to get this 1 point in, and it's
Yeah,
quick.
I got
But
Okay.
Let's
Sorry,
just wanna
Andrew.
get-
I just you got your second. You made your
This
point. We're gonna move on.
this is just to put a finer point on Dylan's.
wait, hang on. Did you just kick me off the panel?
Well, I removed you for a second because I asked you again. Second rule or first rule: if I'm talking, don't talk. All right. I gave
think
you a
you're
lot of
muted,
leeway.
though.
Hang on, I asked for 1 second. You gave me the 1 second. That was it. You didn't have to kick me off the panel.
Sorry, I was muted for a second. I thought that you were speaking over me. I just wanted to. We're moving on the topic. All right, you made your point. It's all good. Yeah, I just did that so we can get back on track.
Didn't you
let's
say
see.
you have questions you wanted to ask?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
just
did.
want-
Actually, I just
Oh,
wanted
go
to. I
ahead.
want, I
Oh,
I want
yeah,
to
that's
thank
point out
Riley
that
for
this-
personally saving my reputation.
Yes. No, it was definitely
just-
because of me. All right, let me ask this. This is something that I've been thinking about. We've been talking about a lot of different kinds of evidence throughout this panel. A lot of the conversations have been very interesting. Something that happened very recently that piqued my interest is that at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, there was Elon Musk sitting with Donald Trump. This is, I believe, one of the first times that they have been seen together since their falling out. During that previous falling out, Elon Musk specifically said that Trump isn't releasing the files because he is not in them, or because he's in them. Do people care about that? Is there any way to ascribe to
No.
that? What are people's thoughts?
I think Elon was really, really ultra mega ass pained, and he would have said anything in that moment to stick it where it hurts.
But again,
Yeah, I think it's just
it was
firing
true. But again,
shots.
it's just embarrassing for Trump. I just want them to have
how-
to
how
deal
would
with the
Elon- how
fact
would
that this
Elon
is
know?
embarrassing.
Here's my
Yeah,
question.
why would
right?
Elon
When-
have access to that?
yeah,
Elon
when-
wouldn't
when
know,
Elon-
and it's played out.
Yeah, when
Like we
Elon
know
was-
his name. We know his name. Sorry, Miss. Hold on. We know his name appears somewhere. He was friends for a bit with him. Like his name's the file. That's such a fucking dipshit statement. He's in the Epstein files. Yeah, obviously. That's such it's such a dipshit played out talking point. Also, and Elon was he's pissed. He's gonna say anything he had to say.
Elon had even come out and said that he made a mistake in saying that, but like he might have been doing ketamine and tweeting. It's all irrelevant. Um, but what even if you wanted to take his tweet and try to give it some validity, how would Elon even know? That's the question you'd ask. So if you're going to use that type of discernment, then try to steelman the other side's argument, and that's how I would do it. Right? Elon had no idea if Donald Trump's in the Epstein files because he released himself on the flight list. He released his what is it? Ivanka's name was on there too. He released his own name in the Epstein files that have been released. So anybody that thinks that Donald Trump has a problem with
That was
releasing
really early on.
himself, releasing himself in there out of embarrassment, then that's debunked right there because he's already.
I don't
put his
know.
own name.
I'm not so solidly convinced. I mean, Trump did say that Epstein likes his women on the younger side. So if I was to really take a swinging guess, since we're all speculating right now, my guess would be is not that Trump diddled, right? Even though I'm sure that there's a lot of people who want that to be the case for partisan purposes. But hey, the less diddling, the better. That's my position. I think he probably had an idea of who Jeffrey Epstein was, and as a New York socialite, he kept his mouth shut. I
Well,
mean, we talked about, like, for
Elon's-
example, Trump banning Jeffrey Epstein from his properties. He did ban Jeffrey Epstein from his properties, and he's told the story like 3 or 4 times. He said he banned him because he was trying to poach his staff. It didn't have to do anything with his moral improprieties or anything wrong with him there. He partied with the dude. They hung out. Again, he said he liked his women on the
Yeah, but
younger
he
side.
also-
So
he
I
also
think it would
banned
probably.
them-
So I do think there would, the longer and more detail we have about this, like if that letter ended up being true, right now it's inconclusive because Trump says it isn't. The New York Times says it is. The more information that comes up, tying him closer and closer to Epstein, the worse it looks. I mean, the
Okay,
majority of
Dylan,
Americans are unsatisfied with
he
the
said
information
he-
that's come out. The majority of Republicans are unsatisfied.
Dylan, he said that he kicked him out because he was poaching clients, but there's also corroborated evidence from multiple people that knew the situation that he kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was also hitting on the younger girls that were staffers. Like the younger girls that
Correct.
worked at Donald Trump's club were staffers,
that's-
and Donald Trump,
that's accurate.
on top of him poaching them, he was
Very
also
useful
being
omission
inappropriate.
by you, Dylan, by the way.
Okay,
Very
but-
useful
but-
omission.
I want to add some
Very
context,
useful.
though.
Well, I mean,
gets,
hey, maybe that's
he
where he
gets
got the
kicked
statement.
out.
He likes them on the younger side, but he said that before that. So
He
I mean,
gets
he knew
kicked
he
out
likes younger
from-
women. Maybe just not his younger
Oh
women.
my God! Powerful rich men like to fuck
Yeah, but
younger
you-
women. Oh my
Yeah,
God!
younger-
Let's fucking
I-
news.
I
Oh my
think
God!
16-year-olds should be
Oh,
Younger-
yeah, no,
opposition.
no. That doesn't mean 16-year-olds. You fucking
Yeah, younger
fuck.
doesn't mean
It
underage.
doesn't
Talking
mean
about
that
Jeffrey
at all.
Epstein. He
And
said
by the
Jeffrey
way,
Epstein likes younger
big
women.
ass rock stars who are in their 70s are plowing fucking 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Leonardo DiCaprio is plowing a fucking
Jeffrey
20-year-old.
Epstein is not a rock star.
Yeah, Leonardo
And
DiCaprio.
he's
is
a-
prime
oh,
example.
Jeffrey
Yeah,
Well, Trump
Epstein.
did take his
Jeffrey
time to
Epstein
kick
was
him
an
out, though.
extraordinarily rich man. When Trump is referencing he likes his women a little on the young side. Oh my God. Rich, powerful men like to fuck young, hot women. Oh, what a revelation. What a revelation.
Weird
Is
things
it
downside.
true that Donald Trump was or was not an FBI informant?
He
It's,
said that-
it's
no, he
likely
worked with-
true. It's likely true that he's been an FBI informant or an intelligent informant multiple times. It's likely
For
true.
the Jeffrey Epstein case specifically?
He worked.
We don't
with the
know. We
Trump-
don't know. We don't know if that's
know-
true. or
What
not.
what was Mike Johnson talking about when he said that to the press that Caroline Levitt later retracted? Because
I
will
mean, he
clarify.
retracted it
and
too,
look,
though.
this is why I want the information out. I can't conclusively say anything about Epstein right now and Trump because we don't have all the information. It's locked away. But if
Dylan,
it
I'll
is
answer your
true
question.
that the Jeffrey, let me finish this quickly and then I'll let you respond. I'm sorry. But if it is true that Donald Trump was an informant on the Epstein case and either Caroline Levitt's lying, maybe Mike Johnson telling the truth, we don't know. But if that is the case, he'd have to have some knowledge that would have been of use to the FBI. That's what I want to know. If he was involved in bringing down Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump was more intimately involved in the case than many of us might know currently. So I want that information out there.
Sure, I'll answer your question.
Yeah, but I
Donald
mean
Trump-
that could
well,
compromise.
actually, let me-
That
Andrew,
could
I'll answer-
compromise certain investigations. That perhaps these informants led to other things. For instance, the information of Trump. It could compromise testimony. Like you don't know. You don't know
Didn't the
exactly.
FBI release a 2-page
on.
document saying they wouldn't go
Let me-
after anyone else, that they had no
let me-
plans of prosecuting
Let me
anyone else?
answer-
I
let
didn't
me
say it.
Answer Dylan's question. I'll answer Dylan's question. Donald Trump worked with the prosecutor for the Jeffrey Epstein victims. The prosecutor was working in conjunction with the FBI. That is where the confusion came from. Donald Trump has also been deposed by I can't remember if it was the FBI or if it was the arresting whatever department. When he was arrested in 2019, Donald Trump gave statements to that effect when he was asked about his relationship. So you have prosecutor in the civil case, and you have working with the arresting officials in 2019. So yes, but that does not mean he's an actual FBI informant. He's just been cooperating.
I remember hearing for years leading up to this big, I guess, kerfluffle. It's now just gotten a lot of attention that Trump was an FBI informant when bringing this up. And I never really gave it much water because I didn't like see anything on it. I just heard it kind of spuriously kind of thrown around. Then Mike Johnson said it, who's the Speaker of the House. Maybe he misspoke. Maybe you're right. And he got it
That's
out there. But that means so far the messaging, Pam Bondi fucked it up. Kash Patel fucked it up. Dan Bongino fucked it up. Mike Johnson fucked it up. Is there anybody in Donald Trump's immediate circle that knows not to make it look like there's a ton of smoke around him on this issue? Because it doesn't seem any of them can.
This
Well, it doesn't
again,
matter what they
we're
say,
back to
they're
the
gonna say this,
original.
though.
Yeah, we're back to the original stupid, annoying point of, well, they just fumbled the release. It's like that's not an
I mean,
accusation.
when we're
Who gives a
releasing
shit?
information, like
Who-
I mean,
like,
Kash Patel
who
fumbled
cares?
the release on an active suspect when it comes to somebody like who just shot
Okay,
Charlie Kirk. Like
yeah.
this can have implications in
Well,
other cases as well.
if you think that that's enough, right? I want to hear, what are you actually accusing these people of? Because what you're doing right now is just making a
I'm
speculation.
accusing them
You
of
say,
trying to
if
brush it
is
under the rug,
case,
that they don't want to
if
take
it-
any more looks at it. I'm accusing them of not wanting to have the conversation about it, either because it's embarrassing or because what you're saying. Either way, we should know. And you agree with that. So I don't see what the problem is.
Well,
Can
no,
I
that's
ask you
not what
something,
you're
Dylan?
saying. What you're doing is you're implying that there's some sort of nefarious wrongdoing going on and a cover
I'm
up.
saying that there's
for-
enough
hang
smoke
on,
that there's no
my
problem
turn,
taking a
Dylan.
look.
My turn, Dylan. And that the whole idea here is that it's due to some sort of impropriety that this is going on, rather than good reasons behind it. And that's because of your progressive inclination to state emphatically that anything that this administration does, it's doing for nefarious reasons.
Okay,
If they're
Look,
just
Dylan,
incompetent,
respond.
shouldn't
He's
he
right.
fire them?
Dylan, Grid Motorsports. Go ahead.
Was that me or did you pass it to Grid?
Sorry, she's right. Say what you need to. Then Dylan, you can respond. Then Grid, I know you
I
wanted to
gotcha.
cut in and say something.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not necessarily indicative of corruption, it's at the very least then indicative of miscommunication and incompetence repeatedly from several parties. And even in good faith, isn't that enough cause to potentially fire these people?
You
and if
can't
not, why
fire
are they being
people for
protected?
incompetence.
Look,
in the
if your
federal government.
criticism
You
is
should know that by now.
is that you want Pam Bondi to get fired, I want her to get fired too. I don't want any
Me
fucking
too.
women in that job. I
Right.
want her out tomorrow. Okay, so like
Excuse me?
you're preaching to choir there. I want
Why?
Trump's faith advisor fired too. I want that bitch out of there. But the thing is like all of
Why?
that aside, just if the whole whole position here is just, well, he released things in a way that makes him look like a fumbling, incompetent boob. It's like, okay, all right, but that's not really an accusation of wrongdoing, is it? It's just an accusation of like there's some incompetence in the administration and fire the women, which I'm
excusable.
all about firing the women in the administration. Trump
Why?
hires way too many women in the administration, in my opinion.
Why?
So
You can leave
right.
Carolyn Levitt, though, right? Please leave
She's
her
right.
alone.
She's right, Joe. Do you think that Pete Buttigieg should have been fired for all of the train derailments that happened during the Biden administration? Would you consider that incompetence?
I would have to look into the details of that and then see to what extent is that dependent on the direct actions and
Well,
responsibilities of someone in
let's
that role.
say
And if that's
let's say that
anomalously high, then yes, absolutely.
okay. So what you're saying is you think that incompetence should be led to the termination of an employee. Okay, I think that you're right. But I don't think that you were given the same energy during the Biden administration when pretty much everybody in his whole entire cabinet was incompetent on a weekly basis.
Yeah, let's
So
talk
it's
about
showing your
they're
bias.
so incompetent, in fact, that a poll comes out 2024 and then again 2025 where 90% of independents, 65% of Republicans think that Biden's too incompetent to do the job, only 34% of Democrats. Let's not talk about who's competent here. If the highest administration in the land can't even tell that the person who's the president doesn't know where he is and goes hubba dabba ding dong every time he's out in public. Like, you people have no leg to stand on about competency.
Albania,
It's-
Azerbaijan,
media and
Albania,
discussion. I care about the actual
Azerbaijan.
actions. And we have in the Trump administration, at the very least, they're admitting like clearly there was an intent and an action and an agenda that was then gone against in potentially accidental ways by several key members, and they've kept on board. Like, that's not about what people think they're incompetent or not. Like, it seems to be that they're failing their duties and the will of.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
think about
incredibly
this. Think
hard
about
to
this.
fire
If
government
Trump goes through and he fires all these people for incompetency, do you think that the left's going to be like, oh, okay, that was good? Or do you think that the left's just going to come out and say, hey,
Yeah.
Yeah, Trump can't hold on to staff because he's such an inept leader. That's what they'll actually run with. Stop bullshitting me,
cares? Wouldn't it
sweetheart.
still be
I've
good?
seen
He
this
fires
shit a
Bolton
million
tomorrow.
times.
That is
I've
what
seen
they would
this shit a
say.
million
Right? He cares
times.
about the
I
actual
agree with
best people
Andrew
doing their
there.
job, and that would be right no matter what.
100%.
That's the kind of
It's
thing where you can do
it's
what's
heads.
critical, and it's actually about doing what's
it's
right and
it's
best in the job.
heads.
You would still
I
work out
w-
anyway.
it's
And you say
it's
fuck them.
You've
yeah,
never
it's
fired
heads you
anyone,
win,
have you?
tails I lose. That's how it works with that. He fires them all, then you say he's so incompetent he can't get good staff, or he keeps them all, he's so incompetent he can't fire bad
Speaking for
staff.
myself,
You're
Wouldn't
just not allowed to work.
I
He's
don't
not
care
allowed
what
to
other people
win.
think. It would be
Not
the
allowed to
right
win.
Yeah,
thing to do.
firing is never necessarily a good thing. It means there's been a failure.
Well, I mean, not always. It's not always for
If you
the
fire
purpose of
Speaking
somebody,
for
that usually
myself,
means
it
you
would
did a
be-
bad
it would
job. So you
actually
pick
give-
somebody
you-
bad for the job. That's an admission of
Well,
failure. So yeah,
could
that,
be
of course,
a
there's
person
like
could
a
be doing
lose-lose
the job.
situation.
A person could be doing the job and even doing it well, and you find someone who's just more qualified than they are, do it even better. That doesn't mean
Why
they're
do you think people
failing,
are
Dylan.
qualified?
But we're
Speaking
talking
for
about
myself,
firing
it
over
would-
incompetence.
Incompetence
No, we
isn't always
weren't.
failure
You,
either.
You were. Were you
no.
saying if the problem
Dylan,
is
you
firing
bring
Pambandi because incompetent, great. I hate women. Like so, it's like they fucking good.
Dylan,
Fire them.
if
Incompetent.
it's the
We
case,
agree.
yeah, if it's the case though that Trump fires him for incompetence, isn't the head story going to be Trump can't keep staff? Trump can't keep
It's
keep
going to be
all
he
of his
picked
own
a
it's
staff.
gotta
bad
be up to
attorney
somebody like
general.
Pete
or
Hegs.
like
Is that a
You know,
logical
a
reason to
bad
keep an
FBI
incompetent person
director.
around
Of
'cause you
course,
don't want
because
the
he
bad
made a bad
headlines?
choice, and
Really?
now
No,
we're paying
heads
for it
you
as a country.
heads you win, tails I lose. So Trump fires him, he's in trouble.
Maybe
He
you should have
doesn't
people
fire
with
him, he's in
experience knew what they were
trouble.
doing. If you're keeping consistent
You would be in
narrative, that's
trouble.
his
You would have the
problem.
best
I mean,
people
you would
doing
win in
their
that case,
job.
though, Andrew, right?
It's true.
I
Nothing
love it
Trump
when
could
four
do
people
would
talk,
get the
I
left
can
off
only
his
hear one
back.
of you.
That is true.
if
That's
he
all.
would have
Like,
I
fired
think we can
somebody
all
like
agree with that, right?
if he would have
So,
fired somebody
awesome.
like Pete
Thank you.
Hegseth, that
Thank
would
you,
give
Scott.
him a little bit more respect, in my opinion, instead of like firing people that's like doing their job that's Democrats that he don't like.
Well, you
It'll be
don't know
more
if they're doing-
respectable to
if they're
fire
doing it
people that's actually
incompetently,
fucking
they're not
up.
doing their job. I mean,
Well, Trump
Trump
fired so many people.
fired people.
Trump did that in his
Fired a
first
lot of people.
administration. In his first administration,
very
he's
good.
firing
It's a very
somebody
easy
every
job.
week. No. We already have a real world scenario where this already happened, and we watched your response. Trump's first administration, he was firing people every fucking week.
Yes.
Because
and
they
you guys
didn't
were
listen
saying
to
that he
him.
was. You were saying he was exactly. You see what Andrew's right. It's heads I win, tails you lose. If Trump fires
Absolutely.
people,
100%.
you will say he's incompetent. If he doesn't fire people, you will say those people are incompetent and he should fire them. So we can
Is
say
the
he's
business
incompetent.
man in
Misfit,
chief.
misfit.
If you were running
It's
a
heads
company, and
you
have like
win,
an
tails I
80%
lose.
They overrate for the top of your administration. You're going to get critiqued for it. They're going to say, "Oh, there was a problem here. You had to change it." So I mean, yeah, it's going to be a lose-lose situation because he
Yeah,
set
there's just
himself up to lose.
there's just
But it would
no
be better-
charitability.
It'd be
Just lose.
better to get the failure out of the way and acknowledge it and move on. That'd be much better for the country.
Yeah, whatever. I mean,
Again,
it's
pretty hard
it's
to
a
fire
complete
veteran
lack of
employees.
it's a complete lack of charitability that
Well,
you
I
would
actually-
give to
He's
one
got
of
to
your
be
guys.
happy if you fired Tulsi. I gave an exact name of the person I'd want gone too. It isn't surprising who I'd
Pam
want.
But not
Fine.
Pam Bondi. You want Pam Bondi?
I want Pam
there?
Bondi gone
Tulsi
too.
fired?
Just Tulsi's the top of my list. Personal grudge.
Personal
Why you
grudge,
don't
all right.
like you don't? Why
I
don't
have
you
a
like why don't you
question,
like Tulsi, Dylan?
I've been wondering.
Same
this,
reason
'cause
as you. I
brought-
don't like women in government, Andrew. What did you think?
Yeah, I knew that.
Based
Yeah, I knew that.
based
Hey,
answer.
I had a
Hey, I
question,
don't mind. I don't
Dylan,
mind women in
and-
government. We need people to cook the president's food. I mean, what do you mean? That sounds like a government job.
Dylan and whoever else, why do you think it is that all of the clear-cut, provable information that we've gotten out of the Epstein files all implicate UK officials? Why is that?
I know recently there was a release on the Duchess that the Royal Duchess over there publicly like announced that Jeffrey Epstein was like a fiend and a scoundrel, but then privately like sent him a letter like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I said that. I just wanted to be able to keep publishing my children's books." I think it's because he was an extremely powerful individual, and people, I
Why
think
not
royals,
Sweden?
politicians, these
France,
people, and this is a
Germany?
sad truth. I think politicians and people of power are more predisposed to be pedophiles. I think people who want to have that type of power over children also generally want to have that type of power over other people as well. That they're power fiends, that they're obsessive people. And I think that that's part of the reason why I want this much transparency when it comes to government officials, because it goes from the state level to the national level to the local level.
Is it because such a disproportionate amount of them are homosexuals too, Dylan?
No,
Yeah, I don't know about
No.
that. but hey,
Are you
Dylan,
sure, Dylan? Are you sure?
no.
Well, not for
No.
not for nothing. Not for nothing. And I'm not saying we should take her word for it, but Ghislaine Maxwell did come out with audio testimony just a few weeks ago, I think it was, and she was talking about how there was a connection between Epstein and MI6. Epstein had
Yeah.
Prince Andrew. Epstein had Virginia Giuffre, and there is a huge connection to the UK government. So I was
it
actually
leads
trying.
credence
Hold
to
on.
him working with these
I was trying
intelligence
to.
agencies.
I was trying to interject this to an earlier point Dylan made, where it's like, why doesn't the American government do this? And my answer would be, hey, maybe it's not the American government. Maybe the vast majority of these operations weren't the CIA. Maybe it was MI6. Maybe it was Mossad. Maybe it was all these other agencies, and they can't release something that would get them into trouble with maybe allied partnerships between other nations. So there's many hypotheticals of maybes, but if you look at the evidence based off of what the connections are to Jeffrey Epstein, it's not the Jews. It's actually a lot of MI6 and UK high profile
it's
figures.
all the UK. Like everything that can be proven 100% is all UK based. Why is that?
Do we
I
all
don't know
agree
if it
then on
is
this
MI6. Even
panel?
more reason we get to pin this on the British. That's what you're telling me. Even more reason to release this. Are you kidding me? If it's the British,
Do we
if
all
it's the
agree that
Americans, if it's
Jeffrey
anyone.
had
I mean, it's not like Donald
Mossad
Trump has ever
ties?
showed extreme
Yeah,
prudence
actually-
when it comes to respect for the Five Eyes alliance. He didn't tell Five Eyes for a lot of American action. If he wants to be the personal crusader against Diddling, I'd be all for it, including going after the British, including going after the royal family, Democrat, Republican, go after Diddling.
Well, hang on. Riley, give me a second to make the case. It's going to sound off topic, but it's not. I'm going to tie it in very quickly.
Okay, you got a second.
So,
I'll give it to you.
okay. So, you are a Ukraine war correspondent. You know that right now propaganda for the Ukraine, positive propaganda, is assisting them with their war effort. You would agree that that's true, right?
That British propaganda is assisting Ukraine?
No, that's not what I said. That positive propaganda for Ukraine is assisting Ukrainian war efforts, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. I would agree that that's true. It just logically tracks. What if it's part of the Ukrainian government, though, and their intelligence or small intelligence agency, which was being used as a filtration system of money towards Jeffrey Epstein? And if that came out at this critical time, it would compromise their war effort. Would you fucking support it then?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I think you're full of shit.
Okay, well, then you can just not believe me.
I think that it's the case that when you start to tie it all in, you start to realize how many different nations were likely involved when you look at the roster of the people who went to Epstein Island. And that's just the speculative roster. But remember, the Lolita Express had 200 passenger seats in it, and they were flying them onto a separate island. I think it was at
Even
Saint-
more reason that
But
it's worth
anyway,
it anyway.
they were flying them over and putting them on a boat, and then from the boat going over to Epstein Island. Thing is that a lot of governments probably are putting political pressure on our government as well not to release those files. Otherwise, Dylan, why wouldn't they? MI6 and others have access to lots of those files too. They're not releasing them. Guess
yeah.
what else? The Israelis aren't releasing anything. Guess what else? Ukrainian money backers who likely were filtering money for various Epstein shell corps, which would make sense because they were the most corrupt fucking government on earth, and where most shell companies were
Not true,
parked.
but okay. They were
Well, where
corrupt, though.
most shell
They were the
companies
number, they
were
were
parked.
number three
Okay.
corrupt country.
Yeah, they were one of the most corrupt
like,
governments
Europe.
on earth.
Well,
And I mean, for
well-
God's sakes, we know what happened with Hunter Biden. The thing is like, look, many governments are likely involved in this if this was an actual compromise operation. So there's probably a lot of shit going on there that you're not being charitable about anyway, or
Look,
just being
I've
disingenuous about
published
it.
interviews with draft dodgers. I've published testimony about officers like stiffing people out of pay. I'm willing to publish information that doesn't make the Ukrainian government look good. And if it means that there'll be less diddling or abuse of children or any of this type of gross behavior, then I'm in support of it. I
What
want
if-
the
well, let me
information
ask
to be
you this.
transparent.
What if-
And look, it's not that hard
Yeah.
to believe, Andrew, that me as a content creator, it'd be easy for me to want the motivation to go over more stuff that I could talk about and go transparent and have a full take on my show. I mean, even if you wanted to make it like a cynical take, it could just be financially motivated in some way. But there's a million motivations that could push me to say, yes, I want the information out there
Well, let me
anyway.
ask it a
Even if
different
it makes
way.
the Ukrainians look good or makes the Ukrainians look bad, this so far makes the United
Yeah.
States look bad. If they includes other countries, it includes other countries.
Let's say you had a crystal ball and you were able to look in the crystal ball and see that if this information came out, it turned out that the Ukrainian government under Zelensky, and pre-Zelensky or Zelensky involvement somehow tied into this, that they were assisting in filtering money via shell corporations through Ukraine in order to fund Pedo Island. And you saw that that would cost them the war effort against Russia. Would you do it then?
So if Petro Poroshenko, because it wouldn't be Zelensky, because Zelensky was after Jeffrey Epstein
That's
got
not what I said. I said,
arrested.
or somehow tied in.
But on principle, I'd have to do it. I mean, I wouldn't like it, but I'd have to
Even
do
though it
on
would cost
principle.
them, even though it would cost them the war effort.
On principle, I don't want that to be the case, but I have to. If you're not dedicated
Isn't
to
that the
truth,
more
journalism is the
unprincipled
first
position from your?
draft history. You have to stand on something principally, dude.
But
I
isn't
have
that
to
the
stand
more
on some principle,
unprincipled
or I
position
stand on
from your?
nothing. If you're not willing to die something, you don't really believe in it.
Bro,
Oh, you're a
that's
utilitarian.
yeah, that's the more unprincipled position, though, from a
I believe the
utilitarian
information
view.
should go out into the public. I'm sorry.
just
If you
don't
don't,
get
if you
it.
don't want that, that's my position.
I'll never
I
understand
think
these
this is
fucking
something that should
people,
be easy
ever.
for me to take a stance on. I believe all the information should be out to the public.
So
Mhm.
I think what Andrew just did was like what was the trolley problem, where it's like, okay, you're gonna give Ukraine to Putin by exposing this now, or you could give it, or you could hold on it and wait and maybe release it later. And that's you're
No,
saying
no. The principle that I'm
Wait,
giving is just to
if there's
demonstrate.
a scenario
Hang on,
where I
no,
could hold it and
he's
release it
wrong.
later to save Ukraine, then I'd probably take that option. But if that's
Right.
not what he said, he said either release it or not, or don't. Like those
Well,
are your
I mean,
two
it's
options.
entailed,
Even
but
though
it's
obviously I could do exactly what you said,
but it's
Misfit
entailed.
Patriot.
But it's entailed, and the thing is like I'm just looking at it from purely your utilitarian view, and I don't
Well,
get it.
look, you're
because-
saying like you're making
Can
a like
calm down
for 2
seconds,
impossible
calm down
scenario
for-
where we couldn't release it
It's
later.
not
so
impossible. I'm just
answering
testing
impossible
logic
scenarios.
of-
So maybe you think it seems fanciful, but it's my opinion.
I'm only testing the logic of the view from a utilitarian perspective. If it would cost the entire war effort against Russia,
I'm going to be a rules-based utilitarian, by the way.
and
You
a
can have
rules-based-
certain rules and still be
and rules-based utilitarianism
think
reduces to
something that would fit
utilitarianism.
is a line I'm willing to draw in the sand. If no one
Yeah.
else here is willing to do that, okay,
But
but
Dylan,
I am.
you realize that what you just said was you would, in my scenario, hold off on it in order to maybe save more people, and that could be the same view.
If
that
holding on
government
it
would
for a
have.
year could save millions of lives, then yeah, I think I would be
Okay.
able to say
So
we
what
can
if-
be
I checked my
transparent
crystal
about
ball,
this
and that's what they
with
said.
some
They-
conditions.
what
If
if-
it means we
what
still
if-
get the information out, we still bust up the circle
Okay.
because we're talking about millions of lives. But
Okay.
ultimately, I would not make any decision that would mean we hold back on that principled
Now,
transparency.
Let me do this. What if this is a real possibility? What if this administration is holding off on releasing certain files because there is named perpetrators that were tied to Jeffrey Epstein that they don't want to release information that would fuck up a case where they could put them in jail and save maybe
Like some
dozens,
generals or some shit.
hundreds or more
If
children
this
that those
if this
people
is
are gonna
proven
die.
later, then and that they're getting more people, that they're getting more pedophiles, and that in about 3, 4, 5 years we'll see that there's Jeffrey Epstein Operation 2.0 Electric Boogaloo, then I'll be like, great, I'm happy they did it. If the only way they could do it is by keeping their mouth shut and taking the heat. I find, but that's pure speculation at this point.
But hang on, everything you're saying is pure speculation. So then it is possible that right now you're actually
We were in
under.
speculation territory
Hang on,
once we
hang
said
on.
MI6.
Hang on. So right now it is possible that you're actually undermining the capture of more pedophiles by speculating the way you are. Is that correct?
If this is the case, I don't think I'm undermining it by calling for its release. They can just ignore me and do it
How would that
anyway.
not be
Because
undermining
if
it?
my release is conditioned on the idea that it can catch more pedophiles, then
Yeah.
there's no problem.
So, but no, the undermining would be if you put that out to your audience, they put it out to these people, and then they all are making these endless demands. That would actually be undermining the very position, right?
I mean, I'm not undermining the position. If you just asked me, and I said, if they're going to catch more pedophiles, and this is the only way to do it, then
Yeah.
fine. But the Trump administration said they would release it. Then they didn't. People are going to ask questions about it.
Yeah, look, I'm all for them releasing the Epstein files. I'm just pointing out that you've always been inconsistent in your utilitarian view, one, and two, that what's been brought up here by Misfit Patriot and by myself is that there could easily be tangential reasons that we're unaware of as to why it is when you
You tried
consider
to find an
Shh.
inconsistency, and then you
Can
just
I-
didn't accept what I said. And then
No,
that
no,
was
no.
your
We found
inconsistency.
the inconsistency is with the utilitarian view itself. If you are willing to draw the line in the sand, if you're willing to draw the line in the sand,
I
even
didn't
though it
believe in the
costs
Bible.
X amount of
That's the
negative
problem.
utils, then guess what? That's not a consistent utilitarian view. One,
Okay,
that's
Andrew.
one. But two, to tie it back in, we just demonstrated for you at least one thing that maybe you should take away from this conversation, which is that if there's a multitude of governments which are involved in a blackmail operation, and that seems to be what the narrative has been for a long time, then they're probably also putting political pressure on our government not to release these files because it could be very embarrassing for them or for people who work for them, and it could compromise them as well. That's the overview of the big boy picture of the let's take a look at it from the bird's eye view. Do you agree that that's a possibility, Dylan?
It's a possibility, but then we both agreed anyway that they should be released anyway.
Yeah, I'm for their release, but I also understand that I'm not going to undermine the greatest president of my time because you're not getting your little filey wilies quickly enough, Dylan. I'm not going to do it.
Well, then maybe he shouldn't promise things quickly. Peace in 24 hours. He makes a lot of promises he
wouldn't
doesn't
matter
deliver
what
on. He said he
it
wasn't going to
wouldn't
be like the
matter
other
what he
politicians,
said.
and he lied like the
Yeah,
best of them.
whatever. It wouldn't matter
think
what he
about-
said. You demonize him anyway.
Think about what Trump actually did say, though, because Trump never promised to release the Epstein files in his campaign. He never put it on any of his rally tours. He was asked in an interview. He mentioned it twice. Once on Fox and Friends with Rachel Campos Duffy, where he said, "Yeah, I'll look into it and I will release." But he never said, "I'm going to release every single thing that I possibly have, even if it undermines certain other operations, certain other cases." He said, "I'll release the files." What I think he was implying is, "I'll give you what I can," which is what most presidents would do. No president is going to be held to a standard of an interview where he says, "Yeah,
But he
sure,
hasn't
I'll
given
look
us what he can.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Well,
don't.
you don't
I mean,
know
like
that.
the
There's a
for
bipartisan
example,
effort to try and
the
overrule him, and
the
is it
judge that
impossible
was
for the
brought up by
administration?
Andrew earlier said that it's the government's discretion. So he
Yeah,
can. You're
gotcha.
just saying that the consequence is
But
so
they've
mighty
requested-
for
Well,
this
they
for this
requ-
what we're
okay,
speculating
so
about right
here's-
now that
here's
he
what they
just
have
is
released.
choosing not to as president.
Okay, but here's what they have released, right? They released about 80,000 documents. They released the Maxine, the Max Ghislaine Maxwell audio interview. They released the flight logs. They released, even though Trump was even in them, they released everything that they had. And then, if you believe Pam Bondi, which I don't fucking really recommend, there was a bunch of files that she was told were at the New York field office that they never got. And I think what happened was she just jumped the ship and tried to get on Fox News and get a little airtime, and she called it too early because they found out that they actually don't have those other files. So again, I'm not giving credit to them and like benefit of doubt or covering. I'm saying there are no files or no other files that they can release responsibly, and they have given you everything that they can release responsibly. They have given you all of the Epstein files. The grand jury testimony, that's under the purview of the judge who has blocked it. That's like, we've already gone over this.
But hang on, but maybe we can get to the heart of this again because we just seem to be going over the same ground over and over and over again. So maybe we can just
Agreed.
like get right at the heart of this thing. So here's the universal agreement I think we all have. We all want to see the Epstein files. Everyone's in agreement there, right? Got it.
Yes.
Okay. So we all want that to be released. We're all in agreement that the administration fumbled their release with what they did with the creators and kind of Pam Bondi's doublespeak and all this type of shit. They definitely fumbled that. We can all agree on that too. Okay, great.
Yes.
So we all agree on that.
Advances in
So
my
the
choice.
thing is, it's like, why? So here's my question. Why, though, is this going to make me turn on Trump? If it's not going to make me turn on Trump, if you're not going to give me some compelling reason to turn on Trump, why do I give a shit about this other than, yeah, don't fucking do that
Because
next time,
other
Trump?
Andrew,
people
you
care
wouldn't
about the
turn
right
on
thing.
Trump if he fucking fucked your wife. You wouldn't do it anyway. So like, just
I wouldn't
I don't
turn
even
on
know
him
why
if he
you're
fucked your
pretending.
wife, but I would turn
I
on him
don't
if
know
he
why you're
fucked mine.
pretending like you would turn on Trump in any circumstance.
I wouldn't say you should
I
turn
have
on
very
Trump.
I have very clear conditionals for things that I'll accept from the administration and won't accept from the administration. And most MAGA people are this way as well. The problem is that you guys lie so consistently and have tried to prosecute this guy over nothing so many times that we're just beyond giving a shit. We're beyond giving a shit about what your
But Andrew,
opinions
I would
are.
say
You call
I
him
would
a
say you
fascist, you
can-
call him a Nazi, you call him all kinds of crazy
You can
shit
at
'cause
least
you're all lunatics.
criticize him more. I'm not saying that this should like make you
Oh, shit.
disloyal to Trump, but you could at least criticize him more and call him out more when he says stuff like saying that it's a Democrat hoax. I mean, you don't believe that. You said you believe the Epstein files should be released, so
That's
it's not a
no,
Democrat
no,
hoax.
no.
What he already said.
What he was referencing there was the all the rumor mongering by Democrats that he was named in the Epstein files, and it was a big cover up by him because he didn't want that released. That's what he was referencing as the hoax, and this is exactly what I mean by why I don't fucking trust liberals. I've been watching for the last 2 weeks. I've been tangling up with TikTokers now. this last week after Kirk was assassinated due to left-wing, the
Fake news,
horrific
not
nature
proven, no evidence,
of
no evidence.
left-wing of left-wingers.
Where's the evidence? Prove it.
Yeah,
You don't know.
tons of
You don't
evidence.
know.
There's
You
tons of
How about
speculate.
his?
No,
How
there's
about his
not.
best
Fake
friend?
he was with the
Nothing-
fucking
nothing
he was with a
proven by the
trans
fake
he was
news.
with a transgender.
Stop
What are you
acting like
talking about?
conservatives don't
Nothing
date
fake news.
trans
Fake
people.
news.
What you
They
think? Only
don't.
liberal
They
people
don't.
date trans people? You're,
There's
Yeah.
mountains
you're
of
Yeah,
saying that-
evidence.
you're
basically,
saying that with
yeah.
a straight
Yeah,
face.
basically
You're saying that with a
I
straight
think
face.
they only do.
You really believe that? You're more
Yeah.
delusional
His
than I
family-
thought.
hold on.
You're more
Yes,
delusional
I
than I
do.
thought.
Yes,
Here's-
I do. I only
I don't know why we
believe
should
that
listen to
progressive
anything you're
liberals
saying if you
date
think that
trans
that's a fact.
people.
I don't think
here's
we
a-
should
I
listen
think
to
it's a-
anything
I
you're
think it's an
saying if you
entailment.
really believe
I think
that.
it's
That's
an
the
entailment,
dumbest shit
bro.
I've ever heard.
I think it's an
I have-
entailment. So
I have
anyway, that
evidence.
aside,
I have-
to
I have
finish
the
the
evidence.
point, let me land the plane.
Hold on, Andrew. Let
I was
Mr.
almost
Patriot.
done.
Mr. Patriot, go ahead
Can
and
I
speak. You
just
had something that
finish?
you
I
wanted-
was almost done.
I'll give it. I'll
You're
give it.
never
I'll
almost
give
Anyone
it
like
right
to
man.
tell?
So I'm just saying this, right?
I
I'm
will
just
kick
saying
it right
this because
back to you,
you guys jump in
Fake
and
news.
cut
You're
me
right.
off
There's no evidence
every
proven
single
by the
time I
FBI
start talking.
investigation. They've looked into it. They have nothing. Okay, this is reported by all the major news sources. Fox and right of that. Fake news.
You should
No
really
evidence.
move
Where's the evidence?
closer to your
I thought you
mic.
cared about
I
evidence. Were
honestly
you
can't
lying
hear
then?
you.
This is going to take 2 seconds. The evidence.
He's right. You
is
are cutting out
his-
of it.
the
Or sorry, I
evidence
just want.
is-
Yeah, go ahead.
The evidence is his friend has confirmed that he was far left, and his family has
Retracted.
confirmed that he was far left. Both people have confirmed he's far left.
The friend
So
story
his-
was retracted. The friend couldn't
He
remember.
wrote
If you look up the same
anti-fascist
articles,
stuff
it's
on the
different.
bullet casing.
shit.
How is this a
No shit.
debate? He was
That's not
obviously far
definitively
left.
anti-fascist stuff.
That was from Helldivers, though.
What?
That was from
How was that?
Helldivers.
It
He
was
wrote
from
Bella
Helldivers. The
Ciao,
dude is
Bella
on the left.
Ciao,
Dude is
Bella
on the
Ciao
left.
on the
That's not
bullets.
sufficient.
He had left
That's not
ideology.
How is that not sufficient? What right-winger
Those
would
are
write an
not-
anti-fascist
Those are
song
not
from
necessarily
Italy?
None of 'em.
deductively indicative of what you claim. There's no evidence linking him.
This is,
Oh,
this
come
is cog-
on. That's
cog-
coke.
mean?
That's so much coke.
Yeah.
Droid say that
You-
shit all
you-
the time.
But anyway, the
Cognitive
point
dissonance.
that
No,
I
they
was
don't.
Fake
the
news.
point that I
It's
was
rare I get
making
Yes,
to
they
see
do.
such an overdose.
the
of
point that I was
coke.
They
making
don't.
is there's no reason because of how often you lefties will take these people out of context, like what you've done with Charlie Kirk and the things that he said, taking him out of
news.
context to make it sound like he was saying black women shouldn't vote, all kinds of shit that he never said. And you just lie about it so
No, that's what
openly
He said
on
black women
TikTok
shouldn't
that it's
vote.
No,
insane.
You just
that's
made
not what
up
he
something
said.
Charlie
He
never
listed several
said.
black women and said some awful shit about them, and we all know.
Bro, what
Oh,
do you hear what I just said? I have the video proof. I've been arguing with
Why
leftists on
you're
TikTok for a week
nobody,
straight.
TikTok is a different place. Like, we're not here to defend TikTokers, bro. And this is about Epstein. and
Then
you're
why
trying
don't you listen to what I'm saying?
Bro, you
Don't
brought
just
up
listen to
TikTok just to try
respond,
to
listen
shit
to
on the
what's being
left.
said.
You're saying
What's
shit
true?
that's irrelevant to this
I'm
topic.
saying that you fucking people lie so much about
You
what
people-
people
You
say
lie
that it's
about what is
difficult
for
for me
sure.
to believe
How
a
about
word
you
you
talk
say.
about what
You're
we're
replying
saying
to the
here?
investigation.
You talking about people on
I
TikTok.
am talking about what you're saying here.
No, you brought up TikTok to
Oh,
try
yeah?
to shit on the
Okay, well,
left.
here, let's
we don't
just
give a
ask
fuck
you.
about TikTok.
Let's just ask you. Was Charlie Kirk a racist?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Can you give me
No,
a
no,
single
no, no,
demonstration?
no,
Yeah,
Let's
there we
report
There
go.
we
proof
go.
for racism.
There we go.
Everyone
Every fucking time.
pause.
Now tell
No,
me.
we're officially too
what
far
would
afield. We are
lead
now
you to
Andrew.
believe that?
Andrew Logics. Now, everyone, we are now way officially too far afield. But I think this is a good pivot into the last kind of question I want to ask, because we're at what, an hour and 20 and some change. So let me ask this related to Charlie Kirk, because this is something else I want to talk about tonight. So I've also seen, as of recently, a lot of discussion online about the fact that, and again, this is not my position, I've just seen this conversation happen, that the Charlie Kirk assassination shifted a lot of public discourse away from the Epstein files. And notably, Charlie Kirk strongly called for the release of the Epstein files. So I'm curious if any of the panels have any thoughts about the circumstances. Do any of you give any weight to any of the conspiracy theories, or is it just a coincidence?
It's probably a coincidence. I mean, because
Definitely coincidence.
you'd have to go and say that the shooter shot Charlie Kirk because he was trying to distract from the Jeffrey Epstein files, threw his whole life away so that he could take focus away from the Epstein files. It's not logical. But you know, the conspiracy theory point. There is so many already in this Charlie Kirk thing, and we're getting into this thing where there's this new culture that's emerging, like conspiracy culture. And I have said this before. I think that the conspiracy culture that is going on are just as responsible for radicalizing people that the college indoctrinations or online indoctrinations that may have inspired and radicalized the person who shot Charlie Kirk, right? It gets people paranoid. It gets people into this whole false reality that things are like, this is what Andrew was just saying. If you lie and lie and lie and lie, if you call people a fascist, right? Why wouldn't you kill a fascist, right? If Charlie Kirk was a general in Donald Trump's Nazi army, you'd want to shoot him.
Of course.
Right? So,
Right. Exactly.
so-
That's the whole point. That's the
So,
whole
yeah.
point. And so but the point of me bringing up what these massive left-wing accounts on TikTok are saying, don't ain't got nothing to do with me, is to point this out. And it's very important that I point this out, that the left-wing propagandists have done everything they can to recharacterize what's actually said so that they can lie about it. They do the same thing with Donald Trump.
Like you're doing now.
Right.
How am I recharacterizing
Y'all
what you
created,
said?
oh, maybe they're hiding stuff, it could damage the reputation of the country and all this. That's why they're keeping the files a secret. Like, all that shit that you concocted is the same shit.
I mean,
you
that's
try to act
that's
like
a
it's
possibility at
I know,
least,
but-
right? That's a
but-
sensible theory.
Those weren't
But I'm
our
saying they're
positions,
engaging in the same
doofus.
behavior they're
Those weren't
criticizing.
our
is my point.
positions,
I don't.
doofus. Oh
we
my
weren't-
God.
so there's
How
a difference
fucking dumb
between-
are you? Listen, because I can
Oh, God.
explore the idea of a hypothetical, entertain it, that does not make it my position. I've repeatedly called for the Epstein files to be released.
Engaging in the same behavior you're criticizing. But
How?
nonetheless.
How would that be doing that? Engaging in a hypothetical would be the opposite of that, doofus.
That's critical thinking, not conspiracy theory.
critical? All right.
I would say the only sensible thing to break the silence that you would have to hold to about what the moderator asked is if Charlie Kirk's shooter was Mossad and then Epstein was also Mossad, and then so they're covering it up to and that theory, which to me that's like too conspiratorial brained. That's the only thing I could even posit that could make sense. Otherwise, I think it's just a coincidence.
I honestly can't add anything without being really, really rude and mean, so I'm just going to be really quiet.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's
well-
fine if people don't have as many thoughts. I was also curious because this also came to me that who is that? There's a really big notable figure, a large Republican figure who came out and is saying that it was all a hoax or that it was a conspiracy. Who is it?
There's too many of them.
Candace Owens. Candace Owens recently came out.
Candace Owens, she's off her rocker. I mean, I don't know what's going on with her.
Wait,
got- she-
wait.
she
I
needs
didn't
to
know
know.
I would get a chance to shit on Candace Owens, but I'm not going to shit on Candace Owens here in front of liberals. That would be inappropriate.
Yeah, that would be inappropriate. But
Oh, I will. Candace Owens needs to be in a padded fucking room.
Never shit on a right winger in front of progressives, bro. Ever.
All right, fine.
Never.
bro code.
Improprietus.
Epstein's friends stick together.
Hey, Misfit, do you also think women
Oh, that
should
was very-
stay away
that was
from
very
administrative
clever.
positions in
That was
government?
I didn't hear the question. What?
I just want to know, do you think that women should stay in administrative positions in government? Do you think that's a good role for them, or housemakers mostly?
Yeah,
This is
I'm
also
not-
pretty afield. I'll
not
give you 1 second. Same direction.
I'm not as misogynistic as Andrew. I think they can work in whatever they want. But I am more traditionalist, where I think if they want to be a
you guys
homemaker-
realize that was a meme, by the way,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Like,
got-
I don't
Is that
care.
Andrew? That's
Yes.
something I'd believe you'd believe.
Why? Based on what?
I mean,
Based
it
on
just
what?
seems your demeanor, just the way that you're
like
I've heard you-
Christian,
based on
I
the
feel like
fact
I've
that you
heard you
just
say
made
that
it up.
before, Andrew. I mean,
If you
maybe
read
I'm
the Bible, there's
mistaken.
For
sections
what?
about it as homemakers
No,
that I
no,
think
no.
Yeah, you said
probably
that women
believe in.
shouldn't hold positions in government.
Never once.
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken. I swear
Yeah,
to
all of
God,
you-
I've heard
the
you
reason
say
that
that.
you guys, what happens is, again, typical left wingers, they attribute quotes that aren't mine to me.
No,
You
I,
said
I
it
watch
during
a lot
today's
of
conversation.
you. I watch a lot of you.
What's
so
that?
I
What's
don't,
that,
I'm not
Dylan?
meaning to
I
do
said
You
it
said
that.
during
it
what?
today. You said it during our talk today.
When
You
I was
said it.
clearly memeing, clearly.
Was you?
joking.
That's
Honestly,
fire.
it
Oh,
didn't
gee,
come off
Dylan,
that
were
way.
you
Fire.
joking when you said that you didn't want her to hold office because she was a woman, or should I take that
No,
seriously?
that was serious.
I mean, Andrew, you don't want
Yeah.
women to vote, though. That's not a joke, right?
What a stupid fuck, dude. So the guy makes the same joke I do. When I do it, it's not a joke. When he does it, it's a
Correct.
joke.
I mean,
What a
it was a
fucking
joke because I
dick.
thought you were.
What a
I honestly
stupid
thought you were
dick.
serious, Andrew. That sounds like something.
honestly
you would
thought
say.
you were
Honestly,
serious
If you don't
too,
believe
Dylan.
that, I don't know if you know how
honestly
you
thought-
come off sometimes, but it sounds like something you believe.
I honestly
He's
thought
so
you
weak,
believed
he
it
can't
too.
let
So,
go.
Dylan.
Andrew,
I
you
honestly
think
thought
you
it from
think
you too, Dylan.
Andrew,
Hold on,
you think
okay,
women
hey.
shouldn't be
Hold
able to
on.
vote, but they
Confluence. Pause.
Sorry.
No,
I
that's
gotta-
not
I
my
gotta
position.
cut.
I've never had the position women should be able to vote either. You guys
What are you?
just
gotta-
make
What,
shit
what
up.
are you talking? No,
Everyone,
you've
hey,
said that hundreds of
I'm
Never
gonna
times.
said it
start-
once.
I'm
Never
I'm gonna
said
move
it
people.
once.
All right, people keep talking. I'm gonna move people to the waiting room. All right.
I'll
This
tell
is
you
now
what, I'll tell you
officially
what, show me-
two. It's
me proof.
officially two afield. All right. We're not gonna. I got to cut both ways. Dylan, you made your point. Andrew, I've given you all. All right. So it sounds like I feel like we basically have come around to a pretty decent stopping point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around in the reverse order that I did intros for. And I'm going to give everyone an opportunity to shout themselves out and give their closing statements. All right. So starting in reverse order, first to go is Confluence. Do you want to shout yourself out and give your closing arguments?
Yeah, I'm Confluence 358 on YouTube. Again, center right, make political videos. Go check me out. Closing thoughts. I think we're all in agreement that the files exist. I think we disagree on what's in the files. I don't know if we covered enough ground, but at least we had some agreement and a lot of spicy takes. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Up next, we got Logics.
Yeah, so I'm Illogix on YouTube, ILLLOGIX. Basically, like I said, I don't think there's any solid proof that Trump has done anything nefarious. I just think that it's funny that a lot of people on the right are tripping over themselves to not know if they want to be for or against them being coming out or not believing what's coming out. I just want him to admit the fact that he's in the files and let his base do what they please with that information. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. Next up, we got Grid Motorsports.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you having me on again. It's been fun. Not as fun as last time, but almost as fun. It was it's interesting to get all of the various takes, and we can tell who reads conspiracy theory as reality, and who keeps it in the realm of theory. And it's interesting the facts that are ignored. Nobody really seems to care that the UK are the ones that seem to have all of the verified Epstein data. Like nothing, nobody else. It's weird. Nobody. It's all about Trump, though, right? And to say that Trump is not a target is just simply, I mean, it's sophomoric at best and idiotic at more probable, right? And so I think Andrew did a good job. Fortunately, I didn't have to yell over him or anything because that would make me look bad. And but man, it was a good time. You can find me at Unreasonable Man on YouTube and Twitch, and I occasionally post on X, but very rarely, very rarely. And it's been fun. You guys have a good night.
Cool. Thank you so much. Up next, we've got Andrew JD.
Yes, Andrew JD on every platform. My position has not changed at all, never will. I feel like every single second that we waste talking about the Epstein stuff that will never materialize into anything would be my solid guess. That is oxygen wasted that could have been going towards a topic that matters. So let's put this. Hopefully, we can put this one to rest in the near future because it's tired. It's played out.
All right, thank you. Up next, we've got She's Right Show.
As of 2 days ago, sources as far right as Newsmax even reported from the official FBI investigation into the Charlie Kirk killing, there is no Kirk shooting tied to leftists. There is no evidence for it. Consider who's lying to you and who's telling the truth. Look up the sources as far right as you want. It's all out there. I support evidence. I support releasing all the files. I support the bipartisan effort, and not just when I'm penned in a corner and then I lie and flip on everything I've been saying this whole time.
Next up, we've got the Misfit Patriot.
Oh, thank God I'm right after her. Because I'm going to start with just debunking your bullshit. The shooter was a leftist. His family says
news.
he's a leftist. No, don't interrupt me. This is my closing. His family said he's a leftist. He wrote, "Catch this fascist" on his fucking shell casing. Okay? The right does not call people fascists. In fact, the left has tried to convince the entire world that the only thing a fascist is right wing. So, use common sense critical thinking and stop looking at a fucking news headline for confirmation bias if you want to find out what political ideology the shooter espoused. Also, he fucking shot Charlie Kirk, not Kamala Harris. All right? Now, let's get that out of the way. The Trump, Confluence, I think it was, said we all agree the files exist. I want to clarify. I don't think the files that you want exist. I think that they are destroyed. I think that they are long gone. And that's why I agree with Andrew JD in getting over this, because we're just going to keep on asking for something that was shredded. If there are files, I think that they're probably in a different government like MI6. And even if we did have the files that the smoking gun against Epstein or somebody else, then I think that I still have enough faith in my country based off of the system that we have that it's not necessarily like this nefarious reason. I think it's more likely that they're probably holding back certain details of the case because there's either further investigations or they're going to be compromising with other things that we've already gone over this. And finally, I think it was, can't remember his name, right above me, was saying, I want Trump to release it because I want him to just admit he's in the files. Trump has already done that. Trump has literally given you information saying, I am an associate of Jeffrey Epstein. So I think what a lot of people on the other side of the, let's say the left side of this argument, your TDS is basically going, okay, I want to catch Trump in this. You don't care about the children, you don't care about the victims, you don't care about Jeffrey Epstein at all. Because if you did, you probably would have been talking about this over the past 19 fucking years, and you haven't been. It wasn't until the Democrats tried to weaponize it against Trump in the past 8 months, and then you guys started doing exactly what you always do. You started repeating what your fucking leaders tell you. There's a reason why Chuck Schumer, Gavin Newsom, Adam Schiff, and all of them are saying release the files, because they know there are no fucking files. So, because now that we can use critical thinking to know that there probably aren't any smoking guns that we're going to get or any further information, we should fucking move on because there are more important things to fucking worry about. That's it.
Well, cool. Thank you. Up next, we've got Dylan Burns. You want to close out? Or we've got you. Yeah. Do you want to shout yourself out and give your closing arguments?
Sure. So if there's nothing in American possession as was being suggested, maybe it's in British possession, maybe it's in French, Israeli, who knows possession. Even more reason to release it, because if you don't have the crucial files proving anything, then it should be of easy facility within your powers to release the files if what is being speculated is true. But of course, we are still completely in the realm of speculation. I think the reason, of course, I think Democrats are using this in a partisan manner. That's obvious. They didn't talk about it in the years leading up to this. But the reason they're able to use it in a partisan manner is because the Trump administration overpromised. And when I say the Trump administration, I mean Kash Patel, I mean Dan Bongino, I mean Pam Bondi, I mean just official after official in his immediate vicinity, not to mention J.D. Vance on the Theophan podcast. And when Trump was asked about it, it is true. One time he said, yeah, maybe we'll release it in response to a question. And another time he talked about, yeah, well, maybe we'll release it, but we don't want to implicate people and get them in trouble if they're not really, involved. And, some of that stuff's fake anyway. It seemed to be laying down the foundation for what's now the discussion from the Trump administration, which from Trump directly, it's a hoax. From Mike Johnson, maybe he's an FBI informant. Maybe it's referring to those proceedings with the prosecutors in the past. There's so much confusion around this, and they've handled it so poorly that the whole nation is unsatisfied with how this information has been released to the public. And so releasing it to the public is the most transparent way to deal with it. I hope they release it to the public. And I hope that when it does come out, whether it'll be done by the Jeffrey Epstein estate, whether it'll be done by the New York Times and other reporters who are just going to keep digging and keep digging and keep digging, that we have some transparency. And I honestly hope that Donald Trump did not participate in any criminal activity, because it'd be extremely embarrassing and humiliating for the United States if he was. And I don't know if we'd ever really be able to live that down. So I do hope the information comes out. I hope we have some transparency on it, and we should get more than the grand jury testimony.
Well, cool. Thank you, Dylan. And last but not least, closing us out, Andrew Wilson. Would you like to shout yourself out and give your closing arguments?
Yeah, my name is Andrew Wilson. I'm the host of The Crucible. Again, I'm a political analyst, political satirist. I also like to engage in debates of all different types all across the world. I don't take any of this personally. I want you guys to know that. I've debated with Dylan enough times. He probably does know that. He has a thick skin too about most of this shit. So I don't take any of it personally. I appreciate all of you being here. So for my closing, a couple things. First, I'll clarify very quickly my position on a couple things, since you attacked me on my credibility here, Dylan. It's always been my position that universal suffrage is a mistake. It's not gender specific. I think that limiting suffrage is a good idea for the United States. It's always been my consistent position. The only reason you attribute these other positions to me is, like most leftists, you're a fucking liar, never paid attention to a word I say. So the thing is like, that's what most leftists do. They just fucking lie about the things that I actually believe, just like they lie about things Kirk actually believes, lie about the things Trump actually believes. You're all a bunch of fucking liars. So I actually have the clip here of me on whatever saying this like 50 times, by the way. And you guys still attribute that to me. It sounds like something you'd say, Andrew, though. Women shouldn't be able to. No, it's limiting the
I don't
universal
watch you all that
suffrage.
much. I just talk to you on these panels, man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Dylan,
yeah.
all right, hey,
So
don't
anyway,
interrupt the. Don't
so anyway,
interrupt.
well, I mean,
Sorry to
that was
dishonor you.
that was a fair interruption, but I'm just pointing this out that this is exactly why people don't trust left wingers. You think the thousands upon thousands of people watching me live right this second who are like, what is this fucking guy talking about? Yet he'll still attribute this as though you said it, because that's what you leftists do to right wingers constantly. Now, that draws the parallel for the entirety of this conversation. Now, what's really funny here is we actually have a lot of agreement with the leftists on the panel. We all want to see these files released, right? We all want to see these files released. We do. But you see that they're doing this in the way that would give the maximum amount of demonization to the right, and especially to Trump, when none of their fucking presidents were going to release shit. And William Jefferson Clinton was likely over on the Lolita Express himself. They don't give a shit about this issue. They've never given a shit about this issue. They only give a shit about trying to demonize right wingers with this issue. We all know that that's the truth. It's been the truth since this thing kicked off. They don't care. There's multitudes of reports that I have of various left wingers who have high social status in left wing media saying that they basically don't care about the issue, but they can use it against the right, especially against MAGA, because MAGA is the people who are the evil guys. They were the ones spearheading the demand for the release of these documents because they wanted to shut down anything like Pedophile Island. That's what they wanted to do. So it was nice to entertain the various hypotheticals, but back over here to this guy, look, I can engage in hypotheticals and entertain them without them being my actual position. This entire debate wasn't even a debate. It was just an expression of opinions that we all have based on pure speculation. The whole thing was designed to engage in hypothetical, and yet you still foolishly attributed these as though there are positions, which was very stupid. With that, I'll give my time. I appreciate all of you guys having me up here. It was very fun to talk to all of you, except for Andrew JD. Stop being an imposter, Andrew. No imposter Andrews allowed. There can only be. It's Highlander rules, bro. There can be only one.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you all for being here. That was a spicy time, but I appreciate you all. Thank you all for making the time to be here. It means the world to me, and I hope to have more panels like this in the future if any of you are interested in participating. If you want to support the show, check out RileyGraceRochong.com, and you can get merch and Subscribble and all that sort of stuff. And that's all I got. Everyone have a good night.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wait. That was fun. That was fun. I'm so curious.
Kick me, I'll kick you when you're doing your fucking plug. Kick me off your fucking panel, I'll kick you when you're doing your plug. And it's the only audience.
That was a mistake when she didn't know she was muted and kicked him. That's what
fucking
happened.
plug, you kick me, you fuck. Support your
was a
right
mistake.
to speak until the last drop of blood, Drew. I can disagree with you, but respect you. That's fair. Hey, look, this is not one of those places where if you have disagreement with me, I consider that a problem. I don't consider that a problem. I understand that I have nuances on certain positions that people are going to disagree with, but I still think that I represent the viewpoint, the Christian right, basically better than almost anybody else.
Okay. Andrew, what you doing?
Chilling, wrapping up my stream.
I was wondering. I'm like, I didn't know you were streaming. I'm like, who is he talking to?
Oh yeah, I was talking to chat the whole time. I wholeheartedly, like with my entire soul, don't give one flying fuck about the Epstein stuff. I literally just joined the panel because I was like, I want to see if I can drag any of these people over to my side of like this is retarded, like we shouldn't care.
Yeah, it just, especially because and then it just went in all types of directions too.
Yeah. My whole goal, I told Stream at the beginning, I was like, my entire goal here is if I can just drag somebody that like kind of cares about this, if I can drag them into my world of like this is fucking dumb, then I will have taken it as a win. Mm-hmm. But then like there just wasn't. Andrew's just yelling at everybody. There really wasn't an opportunity to like hop in and like especially like once you start like digging like into more discrete topics, like my only like possible option is to hop in and just be like, yeah, but did you consider this? nothing matters. Like
Yeah,
he just like
that's what.
like
Yeah, he's like, I
uh,
can entertain a hypothetical without it being my position. I understand the difference in that, but if that's the case, we could just bring up a bunch of bullshit that's irrelevant to why something is or isn't happening, and it's like, well, the conversation really not going to go nowhere if we're just going to throw out, oh, it could be this, it could be that, and it's like y'all will do that endlessly for Trump. Like that's the reason.
Andrew has like a nasty habit of projecting too, where he'll just be like, all you leftists do is lie. And I'm just like, bro, I don't know if you've told the truth once this whole goddamn time, brother. Like, I was like, you have a nasty habit of lying, but unfortunately, like, I just don't give a fuck about the topic enough to I was muting myself and like talking to chat a few times, like they would bring stuff up, and I'm just like, oh, like we already know that this isn't true. Like he did the thing. I don't know if he did it to you or to the one girl at the bottom. I think it was her. Yeah, it was her because he kept asking. He was like, did you know that there was injunction or the 3 courts issued injunctions? But he was like lying about the types of injunctions. So when he was trying to combine the idea of a court issuing an injunction as to like just releasing the Epstein files with the idea of courts declining to release grand jury testimony, but like under Rule 6 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, or of Criminal Procedure, right? It's criminal law. But under fucking the grand jury rules, none of the courts were even like legally allowed to release any of the testimony. So when he like tries to weasel that in there, where he's like, "Oh, well, did you know the courts enjoined them from releasing them?" Like, yeah, the courts enjoined the release of grand jury materials because they don't have a legal choice. They have to. They had to say no. They had to say no because there are very, very narrow rules for when you're allowed to release grand jury materials. And because Donald Trump said so is not a fucking reason. So, but he tries to like weasel that in there because I'm like, bro, this whole like projection of being like, all you guys do is lie. I'm like, you motherfucker, you like pin this girl down. To be like, did you know about these injunctions? Did you know about these injunctions? And the whole time, like, you're doing it based on you're doing it like on the back of a false premise anyway. It's like, right. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I just didn't want to hop in because I'm just like, I'm gonna derail this conversation just to say that everyone here is being fucking retarded and this doesn't matter and it's all pointless. And let's talk about the fucking the FCC trying to pressure media corporations into fucking silencing themselves. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about like ICE fucking violating the Fifth Amendment. Let's talk about something. Like, there's like actual shit to discuss. This is fucking dumb and cringe and gay.
I feel But all right, I'm finna get back to my shit.
All right, have at it.
All right, bro.
I'll see ya.
Albert trying to get his live going.
I guess I gotta keep this up.
Damn, he quiet? Oh, Albert ain't got his shit together.
Y'all bear with us, man.
Yeah, because y'all got a lot going on.
This live shit. I got to watch my mouth, too, because I ain't trying to ruin your monetization. I cuss too much.
But cussing don't.
That's not going to mess me up.
Right, cussing don't ruin your monetization. What is he talking about? I ain't going to lie, y'all. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream this whole debate, especially with them starting so late.
I didn't realize I had to press the button in the top right corner.
Oh, wow. He just got live. Okay. Is he louder on his, though?
Before anything, dog, real shit, bro. I appreciate you letting me tap in, man. Because we don't talk like that, but you know what I'm saying?
Is they louder on his end? Because they quiet.
Feel as though you want to discuss some of this stuff.
He's louder.
I know you covered our video in regards to Charlie Kirk. So yeah, I stand on a lot of the stuff I say. And
he covered their Charlie Kirk video?
I'm always down for that. I felt like just to keep everything very, very productive, the best way we can do it is that, you kind of just lay out some of the stuff that you felt like we did wrong with our video or some of our response. And then from there we can, I can respond to any of that. And then I'll do the same thing in regards to the video you did covering us. For everyone watching at home, let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. Just before we kind of get everything popping, let me know if the audio is okay on the mic. if you guys can hear Stevie. Stevie, can you just say a few words?
What up? What up? What's happening? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right. Somebody said turn my mic up, so I'll stand a little bit closer to it, and I think what I could also do over here is I could probably up the volume. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna just hold it a little bit closer. Let me know if that helps you guys at home. Is the mic better now?
Oh, I didn't know he covered Abba and
All
Preach
cool.
video.
I'm gonna just hold it like this. Fuck it. Stand
He
up.
been going
So,
crazy.
Steve, before we even start, is there anything you want to say before we get popping?
No, not right this moment to you, man. But I know people are probably expecting some viral, goddamn heated, toxic ass debate, and that's not what I are here for, man. Like the hopes was to us to get together, have a productive conversation from two commonsensical individuals in regards to such of a viral, trendy, important moment. So
Yeah.
put that out there.
Yeah. Listen, bro. You got any degrees that you lying about?
Y'all not here.
All of them, bro.
Don't worry. This is not a Sadia Khan situation. So we just gonna chat.
I ain't even talking about that. I'm talking about people just like to see degenerate, hostile, viral nonsense, bro. That's not what I'm here for.
Got you.
Man.
Okay, so let's get started. So Stevie, you watched our video and you had some critiques for it. So yeah, let me know what you think we was getting wrong in regards to how we handled this Charlie Kirk situation.
Well, I want to keep what I felt was wrong towards the end.
Why?
But leading up to that, just think it's a differing in opinions, which is fine. That's what we're here for, man. But if I can recall correctly, the beginning of it, it was more like you were talking about how the right wants to, or we need to tone it down. Or I don't want to say we, right? It was more like focusing on the right versus the left. You know what I mean? And you felt a way about. I'm assuming what your intent was is focus on the right. Now we need to tone it down, and we're doing the same. And we're doing the same thing that the left was doing, bro. And where I differ in opinion with you as far as this whole situation is that I don't think anything should be toned down if we're highlighting, if we're focusing on the right people. You know what I'm saying? I think that the right versus left is being overhyped, which makes sense because we're divisive as hell in society, man. But
You're not tripping,
the
bro.
demons are
You're not
demoning.
tripping.
You know what I mean? And regardless if it's right or left, I feel like, these people need to be held accountable and we need to zero in on these individuals. And I don't think a toning down at all will work, given the climate.
Okay.
And, I'm not going to say I felt some type of way at the beginning when we're focusing on, like, the emphasis of your video was to highlight Charlie, and then you were trying to compare it to other things that may have happened that were similar.
Sure.
And I think that's taking attention away from, the elephant in the room, which is Charlie Kirk situation, which we never had a situation like this happen ever, because of the social media and the fact that everyone was able to see it. You know what I'm saying? And that makes the situation a whole lot different than anything that's happened in the past as far as a murder of this magnitude. And, it seems that you were minimizing the impact of what happened to Charlie.
Okay.
And nervous as fuck.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna keep rolling out. I'll let
Yeah,
you.
he keep talking.
No, go for it. If you're still on this one, I just didn't want to move from this topic, but
I don't want to roll out like 10 things. And
Damn,
have
this
you,
audio is
yeah. It's always
crazy.
better to go point by point. I think so.
Yeah, maybe we should go one for one.
Yeah.
So, it felt like.
Oh no, I'm watching them, bro.
From my end, it felt like it was a right versus left type of thing, and you know what I mean.
He said on camera, Tron.
Right's doing
JFK
this,
was recorded.
The left's doing this, and you're saying it's hypocritical of the right to be complaining about the same things that the left is doing, or what the right is implying that we're doing. And to me, it shouldn't be about that. It should be about we isolate, the evil, the degenerate shit that's going on, and when we try to minimize or just bring up the comparison between Charlie Kirk and everything else, it minimizes the tragedy that everyone just witnessed and like the impact it had on everyone, man. So I feel like it's deflecting from it, and it's like Charlie Kirk, his tragedy was important, but other things has happened, and the right was doing the same thing. So it's kind of like, no, it is to me, it's minimizing, what happened.
Got you. So I think there's 2 points in there. One being the hyper focusing on right versus left. You felt like we did that too much. And the second part is minimizing Charlie Dess's murder. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to go to the first point, I did have that in my notes. I think in your video at around 2-minute mark, you said that I was minimizing Charlie Kirk's murder by comparing it to other political violences or like contextualizing it in the way that I was doing.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm minimizing it. I disagree with that characterization for a few reasons. I think it's natural when someone dies that we try to understand why. That's why people love murder mystery. That's why people, every time someone dies, they want to know who the perpetrator is. They want to know who their motivations are, because murder is generally something that we see as incredibly heinous. And so understanding what led to that is always important. When I'm not comparing, this is not the right word. What I'm doing is that I'm explaining away how our society led to this moment and this man, because he wasn't murdered in a vacuum. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was an individual who's incredibly troubled, and he decided to go out and murder somebody for their political opinions, their affiliation, maybe because they had mentally ill issues. Who knows? But there's a landscape, and there's a lot of things that lead up to this murder. It's always important to examine these things, because if we don't understand how we got here, then we're going to be doomed to repeat it. It's never, in my opinion, a bad thing to contextualize any world event, provided you contextualize it fully, right? Or at least you try to, because without context, then all that happened was that someone was shot. Context is everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, to that point, that makes total sense what you're saying, but to me, it didn't come across that way when you voiced that in the video.
That's because you was in there watching it with your feelings.
Trying to, highlight the divide between the right and the left, or whoever the instigators of it are. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like you were trying to get to a root of the problem or how we're trying to fix it. It's like, like I said before, I mean, what you're saying now, if you had voiced it that way in the video, I wouldn't have had the...
That's how Evan Priest do all their videos.
To what you said. But in the video, it didn't come across to me like that at all. It felt like...
Well, right now, the pervasive narrative, and this is where it comes to the left versus right thing, the pervasive narrative that's online and that's being espoused by some of the most important people in our political, stratosphere, is that violence of a political nature is solely left-wing, okay? And I remember at about 3 minutes, 29 seconds, when Matt Walsh is talking, in your video, you said that I was interpreting what he's saying. When he's talking about good versus evil, it's time for the righteous to prevail over the forces of evil. You were saying that I was making a left versus right thing, right? But that's just not true.
Hold on, well, let me make a correction, because you go further on in the video, I recognize that point. I said, hold up, if Matt Walsh is doing that, highlighting the left like this, that's unfair to do so. Then I went on to saying this makes the left look bad, it makes the transgenders look bad, it makes everybody affiliated to this look bad. It's like guilty by association. That's not the right thing to do. It should be a good versus evil thing, right? But then I went on, because you had a couple other videos of people uttering or echoing the same sentiments as far as, righteous and good and evil. But I did highlight Matt Walsh in that video specifically saying, all right, I see that he is describing the left in this manner, and that shouldn't be the move.
Right. But again, at about like 6 to 7 minutes in the video, you kind of do it again where you say that, that's how I'm interpreting a lot of this narrative of good versus evil. But it's not just Matt Walsh. Ben Shapiro said that most of the political violence today is flowing from left-wing movements and ideology. Elon Musk was on Twitter, and he said the left is the party of murder. If they won't let us live in peace, then our choice is to fight or die. Alex Jones said the right-wingers are in a war during a live stream. And he said that the left has been put a bullseye on Trump, and he put a bullseye on his supporters. President Trump himself, during an interview, let's see here. Let me pull up the clip, because I think it's just important to me to get the exact words that he said. On Fox and Friends, he says, we have radicals on the right as well. And he says, I'll tell you how, I can send you the clip you wanted. I'm going to just read it verbatim, his quote.
I believe you, though, bro.
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see more crime. The radicals on the left are the problem. So when I'm talking about versus left, okay. I'm not talking about someone in a vacuum or someone at home. I'm talking about the most important people in our political discourse framing most of this violence as I only left. And what you did in the video, and I did appreciate, is that when we said, if you look at the numbers, people got mad because I quoted the ADL, but there's all sorts of things from FBI statistics to different organizations who track terrorist attacks. Most of it comes from religious extremists and then right-wingers. Left-wingers at the bottom of that list, especially over the last 10 years. So I'm not trying to frame this as left versus right. That's the plate that's already been set. Since Charlie Kirk died, the right has not stopped politicizing his death. They haven't stopped using it for fuel for their attacks on the left. And so in that climate, you're asking people to not talk about left versus right, but if the left doesn't, then just right gets to make the narrative that they're the violent ones. And it's just not true.
Well, my opinion is that both should submit. It's not a left and right thing. It's an evil versus good thing. You know what I mean? And that's, and then it's me watching you, so I'm expecting that to be that should be the point. You know what I mean? It's like what you're doing is adding just, fuel to the fire to what you're saying everybody else is doing. Like you're highlighting the hypocrisy of people complaining about what the left does, essentially what the right is doing the same thing. You know what I mean? But, with that, like I said, with that the Matt Walsh clip, I specified I definitely could tell he was highlighting the left. Well, all that shit is fucking wrong. And I said that in the video.
I agree.
I said that in the video, right? I said that it's not a left versus right thing. It makes everybody look bad. We need to focus on the motherfuckers actually making things horrible for everybody, the extremists, the radicals, all that. You know what I mean? That's what my focus was. I feel like that's what the focus should be for everybody.
Yeah, and I did have that noted in some of the things that I liked that you did. I did appreciate that you actually said that, because a lot of people are not saying that, or they're just avoiding the topic entirely. But you have to understand, when I'm watching this video, when I'm watching the discourse, I'm looking at things in its totality. So when I'm talking about...
What video are you talking about? When you say you're watching the video, what video?
I think I was looking at a lot of the political coverage in regards to this. I've been looking at the people who were responding, everyone who's been talking about this, and how the public is talking. You spend time online. They're not talking about this as like both sides. That's not a lot of the discourse. A lot of the discourse, especially from the right, is that they're just saying essentially the left is the violent party. Go check out those comment sections. Go check out a lot of the discourse from the big...
That's going to happen every time that happens. Every time someone from the left does something crazy, they're going to highlight the left. When the right when the right does something about something, they're going to highlight the fucking right. It just... That comes with the territory.
Right. But it should be noted that we should correct those narratives and say that these are not one-sided things. If you watched our video, we didn't say violence is only right-wing. We said there's plenty of people who've murdered people on the left, from the left. And we said that. But the dominant narrative right now is that left-wingers are the violent ones. And they're obviously, especially with the most recent murder, it makes sense that it's going to be the dominant narrative. But it's important to not let those lies be able to be spread, and to say, actually, guys, you're wrong. In fact, this year there's been other people who've been killed. You said we were minimizing his death by bringing up these other murders, but those deaths are part of this discussion. The same thing that led to those people being killed is the exact same thing that led to Charlie Kirk being killed. And it's important to know that, because if we don't understand that, then all this is just going to happen again. You said it was different in your video because Charlie Kirk died on camera and nobody was supposed to see that. You remember that you saying that?
Yeah.
Right. To me, I understand that the fact that he died on camera makes it much more graphic, much more in your face. Yeah. But at the end of the day, murder is murder. Yeah. Dying is dying. Someone is victimized.
But it's the effect that it has on society is not. It's not the same. In a vacuum, it's the same. But if people were able to see that video until the end of time now,
sure,
right, they're able to see that man go out the way that he did, and knowing up until this, I can't compare someone else that had the amount of influence Kirk had. You know what I mean? And to have, if he hadn't been murdered in front of everyone at once, your analogy, your comparison will be fair, man. But
okay, can I ask you something?
You can't minimize
if Kirk was not killed on camera, if Kirk's not killed on camera, is this situation more or less tragic?
Yeah, still tragic.
It's less tragic.
So dying on camera makes a murder worse?
No, not the murder worse, but the effect that has on the people is worse because everybody can see it.
Sure, I get that.
It's different than watching a news report and you hear about somebody that got something, had something happen to them that was grotesque, as opposed to actually seeing it, because this people are going through trauma with this right now.
Right.
I mean, they're gonna have this burnt. Little kids saw this. It's nowhere near the same as anybody else.
That's the effect that it has on you as an individual. But the tragedy is the same. The tragedy remains.
Disagree with you.
Okay, well, yeah, we're definitely going to disagree. If my father dies on camera or doesn't die on camera, at the end of the day, he died. Somebody took my person away from me.
So you don't think the fact that everybody can see your father die and have that accessible 24/7 on social media is not going to make the situation
don't
any
know.
different than having him die.
No, it makes it different. It makes it different, but from a moral standpoint, it's the exact same. There's no difference in morality. It's just more
Morality
shocking.
is a different conversation. I'm just talking about tragedy. Morality is the same. I'm talking about the effects it's having on society.
Yeah, but if I'm talking about other murders, if I'm talking about other murders, I'm talking about the moral aspect of it. I don't really care. Personally, I don't care. I don't care whether it happens in front of 100 people, 10 people, a school. It doesn't really matter to me. Murder is murder.
Yeah.
People dying politically, all political violence to me that happens for political reasons are equally bad, whether they happen. That's how I feel about it.
I
You
don't
might
know why
disagree
he's
with that,
saying
but
it being
And
on
I'd
camera
imagine a lot are going to
changes.
disagree with that perspective as well, man.
yeah.
The fact that you can see it, you can hear about somebody that died by the guillotine, but then actually seeing it is going to be
It
totally
doesn't
different.
change the fact that it happened, though.
And with kids, college campus, in front of his
it's
babies,
sti-
in front of his wife, the whole world,
Like,
see
that's-
that, bro, is entirely
That's
different.
on a personal level.
It's different
I
in
don't
the
know.
impact that it has on the viewer.
Yeah,
It's not
like,
different
because
yeah,
everybody, a lot of people done seen murder before, seen shit like that.
That's my whole point, and that's why it's more tragic.
Not a lot,
But that doesn't mean that we
people-
can't contextualize it with those other murders. You say it's not comparable, but I disagree. They died for the same reason.
Yeah,
They died for the
Yeah,
exact
but
same
if-
reason.
If you had related that way,
it's
trying
always you
to
related that
bring
way.
up the similarities
he
and
put
how
his
you
own
conveyed it just now,
thoughts.
it
in
would make
this.
more sense. But that's not at all how you conveyed it in the video.
It's because you took
came
it the way you
from,
wanted to.
you know, a leftist bias type of perspective from my end that you were trying to minimize it by bringing up other similarities. You didn't bring up you didn't bring anything up about it being moral or same morally. You were just saying to summarize it, you know, Kirk died, everybody else died, and this happens with political violence.
Yes, because what I'm getting at is not how he died. What I'm or like in front of who that he died. What I'm focused on is why was he killed. I don't personally care that he was killed on a live stream or in a
Yeah,
pre-recorded
that's more
video
important.
or on a
That's
yacht.
more important.
Do you think you're the anomaly with that perspective?
No, he's
No.
not. No.
You think that most people don't care that he died online?
I think that's the reason why it went viral for sure, but that's not why they care. You don't care about this topic because of the
Because
fact
it's
that
on
What
camera.
what I'm saying,
Right.
what I'm asking you is, you say you don't care that he died on live stream. And I'm asking you, do you think most people
Yes, most
don't
people-
care that he died on
That
live
doesn't
stream?
change.
no, most
anything.
people are focused on the fact that he was killed for political reasons. That's what
Right.
people care about.
I don't.
No
why is
one's
he
no
getting
one's
this?
outraged by this whole thing because it
Because
happened
it's
on
on
camera.
camera.
People are
And
outraged.
it's not like he was executed to. It wasn't like people was recording it because it was gonna happen. So this is weird.
Outrage. I'm just saying that adds more nuance. It makes it worse because of that.
Sure,
It's a-
but that's in the background. That's not that important. What's really important is that he was killed for political reasons. That's the
Yes, why
focus.
is
That's not just a little bit. That's 99% of the focus. None of the coverage that we've been seeing lately is because, like, can you believe that people die on camera? Nobody's talking about that. Everyone's talking about.
But come on, bro. That's not my argument, dog. I'm not
But you're-
saying that it's
you're
only important because it happened on
You're
camera. I'm saying
focusing
that
on
it's
it.
more tragic. It's worse than everything else that's happened thus far because it happened the way that it did.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll agree to disagree. I don't think someone dying on camera makes it worse. I think a tragedy, death is death, murder is murder. If you are murdered by somebody on camera in front of a body, so nobody sees
So
it.
you don't think,
Yeah,
so
No.
somebody
He's
just
still trying
dies
to-
in their sleep naturally compared to somebody
Dude,
being
that's different. Oh my god.
cut up in body parts and
That's
thrown
so
in the
different.
dumpster.
well, that's
You
not the
think
same.
That's
That's
not the
not the same
same.
because the reason why they died.
Death is death, though.
No.
No. What?
Death is death, sure, but murder
stupid.
and death is not the same thing. You dying of old age is not the same thing as being assassinated.
All right, you get shot in the head by somebody, or you get cut up into multiple pieces and fed to some gators on
this is
camera.
not-
Which
Sure.
one is- you think the murder is murder?
No, because what happened after to my body and how the person extended that murder is going to make it worse.
So you don't think what you're saying is equivalent to me, Kurt getting shot on camera? It's the same thing.
Yeah. I think we just disagree fundamentally. But again, I don't think
know.
that's the focus. I don't think that's a reason.
But that was my focus, though. That was
Sure.
my focus when I felt like you were minimizing it, bro.
Jesus.
Because that's a big reason why Kirk's death had the impact it had. It had to reach because you could actually see it.
Okay, so let me say I agree with you. Let's do a different exercise. Let's say I agree with you. These
Man,
are
this is-
different to a degree. So what's your point? Shouldn't contextualize his murder?
How do you have YouTube with no name?
Well, in your video, it didn't feel like you were contextualizing. If I felt personally that you contextualized it, trying to get to the root of a problem, then we wouldn't be here today. But I felt like your intent was to minimize Kirk's
No,
death
that
by
wasn't the
bringing up all
intent.
these things that happened.
I would argue that you are minimizing his death by not contextualizing it properly. If you don't talk about why something happened and how we got here,
Mhm.
then all you're doing is just describing
But
a
who said you're
tragedy.
not talking about why? I'm just focused on your video.
Yes, but if you're going to counter my narrative and say that I'm wrong for contextualizing it the way that I did, or you don't like the way I
No, but
contextualized
you're saying you're contextualizing it now. When I watched it, I didn't think you were contextualizing. I
Okay.
just thought that you were minimizing it.
that's fair. I disagree with that. I think I talked about
didn't
how we got
minimize
here.
it.
I definitely said that in the video. I talked
didn't
about the fact that
minimize
there's
it.
been a string of political violence over the
It's
last 10
because
years.
he's
and
so
that thi-
focused on it being on camera, he's missing the bigger picture.
This is not a shocking outcome. Kirk being assassinated is not the craziest thing. There's a reason why he had security. There's a reason why I think he was wearing a bulletproof vest. There's been threats on these people. So we have to take that into consideration, understand that this is not something that happened that is out of this world. Even Kirk himself realizes this is a possibility. There's a reason why everyone who does these...
I get your point, but that's not at all my argument, bro.
But that's what I was
That's
talking
not at all
about.
my
That's what
argument.
I was talking about in that video, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I mean, I didn't receive that on mine. If I felt like you were contextualizing it, then we're on the same wave as far as this is what happens when politics get off the
I wonder what
rails.
Stevie's
But
chat
in the
is saying.
video, like I said, I thought that you were just minimizing it by comparing it to everything else. I didn't feel like there was any contextualizing there, so just got to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And I've watched the video probably 3 more times because we're having this conversation today, man, and I didn't get it all that you were contextualizing it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say that. I was saying those words exactly, contextualizing it, but I think that is what I was doing. But again, we could agree to disagree. So those were, I think, your first 2 disagreements that you had with me. Yeah, you can definitely let me know some other ones that you had.
They
for
say
sure.
Abba's a sociopath. Oh my god.
And I mean, I just get to the meat and the potatoes now, man, because do you feel like you manufactured a narrative on Kirk by showing those those snips of him in your video?
Yeah, okay, we can address that because I did have that in my notes as well. I think around like the 20-minute mark, you said I took him out of context, right?
Not even take him out of context. You put your context on it because if you let it play, I put the additional clip.
They're
On it.
the-
Okay,
because
so just for
Abba
the
has
viewer,
notes, 'cause-
there's a clip that we played, maybe a
people
15 seconds
weird.
of Kirk on a Jubilee panel. He's talking to somebody. This is a panel about Christians versus, or is it right wingers versus lefties? I don't remember what it was.
I don't know, but it was about abortion.
Okay, it was about abortion, right?
Well,
And,
yeah, one, you put
and,
three
and, and,
videos,
and Kirk is a very Christian, self-proclaimed Christian. Everybody knows this about him. So in that clip, the woman is asking him a hypothetical where he says, if your 10-year-old daughter was raped, okay, would you force her to keep the child? Is that a fair assessment of the clip?
Yeah.
And then Kirk says yes.
You said yes, the baby will have the baby, or my girl will have the
Okay,
child.
and then you said that we were kind of dishonest with how we did that we clipped him out of context, and then we put our own context, right?
No, I'm not saying you put your own context. You didn't put the entire context.
Okay.
Like you said, you led into it by saying, you said I think I'm not going to speak. I'm going to recite you verbatim, but it was essentially, I think that Kirk has said some disgusting things as well.
Yes.
And you played.
I played that clip. Yeah, so let's just talk about that first clip because I remember you taking that first clip and being really shocked. I think, let me just see here, because I did have that in my notes here. Oh yeah, you said that. You said that was really surprising that you were shocked coming from me, and you called me the king of receipts.
Yeah.
But yes, so that is
Real shit, 'cause I rely, not rely, but I know when you giving somebody shit, you gonna have.
okay. So how do you feel I took that clip out of context?
Because when I see that it's trying to paint Kirk as a monster because he's going to force his 10-year-old daughter to have a child.
Right. But as somebody who's anti-abortion, that's his stance. He will force his daughter to have the child because he feels as though life is precious or whatever it is, and he sees the fetus as a life. So he's like, my daughter will have that baby. That's his take.
Yeah, but if you let the rest of the video play, I mean, it's subjective. Everybody's gonna feel differently.
Right, it don't
watching
change.
that,
That's
but,
why I didn't cover that in my video
If
because
you
it's
just
like
have that short video, it makes it seem like he's a monster. I don't care. Anti-abortion. She having a baby. It could be for anything because my way or the highway or whatever the case may be, bro. Everybody's not informed on Kirk and his reasonings why. And if I think that you let the video play and gives you his reasonings why,
don't
people would
change
understand
anything.
it. They may not agree with it, but they'll understand it and they'll take a blow away from how they're initially feeling about him being a monster.
If they don't,
Well,
if they're
they'll
anti-abortion,
see him
it
still
don't
as a
matter.
monster because no matter how much you explain it from a religious
But
standpoint,
that's your opinion.
and,
though, 'cause I
and,
don't
and-
think
but
he's a
that
monster.
was my whole point. Do you remember what the greater point of that whole section was? That section was about the fact that some people view him as a monster, including me. I don't like the guy. I didn't think his politics were good. That's my personal opinion. I think I'm free to say that. And I played clips that, to me, showcase his stances on things that I just don't agree with. And I
Stevie
think are
agrees
disgusting.
with it.
Forcing your 10-year-old daughter to have a baby, okay, that after she was
It's
great,
monstrous.
okay. You could say it's great for religious reasons. You could give whatever justification you want. There's nothing in there that took him out of context. His stance was
Right.
Because if you having that short snippet, people are not gonna know why he's doing it. They're just gonna know he's doing it. If you give
Stevie
him,
is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It's if you don't agree with that stance, it doesn't matter the context.
if he gives
doesn't
justification
matter.
of why,
No,
and he
we
gives
know
very
it's because he's
clear
religious.
reasons of why, that's going to make some people look at it different.
No. This is
putting
ridiculous. This is
You know
ridiculous.
what I mean? Like, it's like showing a video of somebody shooting somebody in the head, but just
No.
randomly. But you
Okay,
figure out that this motherfucker like killed my mom, then it makes sense.
no, because the people who are following this or people who are even tuning into this stuff know that Charlie is a political speaker who's incredibly Christian. So
You're making that assumption, though, bro. Like, you're making that assumption because now, since Kirk has died, there are so many people that are just now learning about Kirk. There's so many people that didn't know before. There's so many people that didn't know before. So if you put that narrative out.
Can I ask you?
This is a big reason why so many people don't like Kirk, because they get so many of these short reels taken out of context.
But they're not out of context. It's not a context.
You just
No,
disagree
it's
with
not.
him.
It's not.
You agree
Stevie,
with him.
If someone says, I'm anti-abortion, I'm a Christian, we know why you don't want an abortion to happen. We don't.
In that clip you put, he didn't say he was Christian, though. He just said, she just gave an example, and he said no, she can have a baby. He didn't say he was Christian.
This guy was all over the world, all over the news, and he was constantly.
You're making an assumption.
No, I'm not making an assumption. Everybody who saw that clip of him getting murdered knew he was a political speaker who's Christian. There's not a person who didn't see that clip, who didn't see the news reports, who didn't know what he was. You're acting like I took an obscure person.
That's cap. That's not true. That's not true. You can't speak for everybody in the world, dog.
That's not out of context, boss. That's not out of context.
Because I talk to people now that had no idea who the fuck Kirk was. Now they see him on his timeline going, and they don't know who the fuck he is. That's false, bro.
He has the very standard cookie cutter Christian view on it. There's nothing.
Regardless, you're making the assumption that people know, dog, and that's a dangerous game. You got to give them.
That's not an assumption.
More.
That's not an assumption, boss. I'm sorry. Anybody who's following this knows he's a Christian political speaker. I'm sorry, but I'm just not buying that. In fact, everyone's been introducing him as such, so we know why he does not like abortion. I don't need to see 5 minutes.
You know, and a lot of people do know.
This is so stupid.
No, dog, and you got to be fair and give the reason why. You got to give justification why. You just say he's doing this. They go, oh, he's a motherfucker because he's gonna force a 10-year-old to have a fucking daughter. But if you go let the shit play and he gives the.
It
fucking
doesn't
girl
matter if you're against
of why
abortion.
he made her look stupid.
I mean, if you're pro-choice.
But that's because you're probably anti-abortion. Am I right?
No, I don't know. I could care less. I respect his stance. I'm not pro. I'm not anti. I respect his stance. I don't agree with it, of course, but I respect it because he's standing on the team.
Okay. But my point still 100% stands. At the end of the day, if you are going to force a 10-year-old to have a baby because you believe abortion is wrong, it's okay for people to say you're a disgusting person.
Right.
And other
It
people
doesn't
can
change
agree with your
anything.
stance and say you're cool. My entire point was
That was my argument. My argument was you took about the context. People can say what they want to say.
Okay.
About the context, you're
It is
manufacturing
not
a
out of
narrative.
I'm not
context.
manufacturing a narrative. The narrative was very clear. He's a Christian man. He's against abortion. Super basic.
You didn't have Christian in that clip, though.
I didn't have to because everyone knows who he is. But
Everybody does not know. Look.
okay, we'll agree to disagree.
I don't know how he thinks that would change anyone's opinion if you feel like forcing your child to have an abortion. Like, that's not.
Agree to disagree, but I think that's not taking someone out of context. If someone says I'm a Muslim, if someone says I'm a Muslim and I'm a no, I think you're reaching. I think you're definitely reaching, but it's okay.
How am I reaching?
You're reaching.
How am I reaching?
He's the most viral person right now.
Manufacturing a narrative, bro. He said I'm gonna force the 10-year-old to have a fucking baby. That's it.
No.
That's all everybody gonna see. There's no more context. You didn't give a motherfucker the opportunity to explain why.
No. He's the most viral person in the world. People know he's a political commentator. They know he's Christian. I'm not buying that, but we'll agree to disagree. That's not taking someone out of context. If you're not an unknown person, we know where you're standing. We know what you're there for. But we'll agree to disagree. This is another point you made, and this is one I thought was crazy. You played the other clips of Kirk. You kind of said there's nothing bad about this when he said he wanted Biden to be executed or given the death penalty. You don't think that people should hate somebody like that, or some people might hate somebody for that reason? For saying violent things like that?
Yeah, that's their opinion.
Okay, so what's the problem with my stance in this whole thing? You were saying, what did Kirk say that's
That video wasn't that video to me. That video wasn't personally for me. That wasn't as important. It didn't get my attention as much as the first two. Right? It's a bunch of motherfuckers that don't like presidents for whatever the reason is. Like he ain't the first person to say he want to see a president die. Everybody want to see.
No, he's different.
Trump
He's
die.
not just a person.
They deserve to die. The people want to. Do they deserve to fucking be killed because they hate Trump? Want to see him dead?
But that's my whole point. My point is, people should be allowed after Charlie Kirk's death to say, I didn't like the guy. This is why.
But that's not what I said though. I never argued your reason to feel how you feel. I said I was only focused on the fact that you're manufacturing a narrative.
Well, no. In the clip you said, oh, these are the hateable clips. I don't see it. That's what you said.
Right.
But that's my whole point.
That's
You're
your
taking it from
argument.
your perspective because you don't think those opinions are that crazy, right? But
I think they're crazy, but I'm not diminishing their feelings about it. They can hate it. I don't agree, but I'm not saying they're wrong and hating it.
Okay.
I never said
Okay,
that.
another point that you made. I played a second clip, and this is probably one of the wilder clips. A young man goes up to Charlie Kirk during that debate, and he says to him, hey, what do you think about school lunches for kids? And Charlie laughs him. He says, there's no starvation in America. We have an obesity problem. Nobody here is going without food. And then you agreed with him. You said there's no starvation in America. Go get food stamps. You can get food at churches. There's no reason to starve. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there's no reason to starve in America. It's like 1% of households have like I guess technically a hunger issue, bro. But people are not starving to death in America, bro. Motherfuckers are fat as hell.
Okay.
That's a fact.
And see, this is the problem I have with like people who are pro-life, and not you specifically, but people like Charlie Kirk. They're so obsessed with keeping fetuses alive, they pretend it's like this big virtue. And then when a child is born, they're like, fuck you, your parents take care of you. It's actually probably one of the most hypocritical, and this is why I think Charlie Kirk is probably a shitty person to me, is that he spent all this time being anti-abortion, but when it comes to every government initiative that's meant to protect kids and keep them good, he was always against it. And to me, it's like, what's the fucking point of keeping this fetus alive if when it comes out, you're like, yo, fuck you, kid. And that's what he did. He said that guy was...
He said, fuck you, kid?
No, he did it, but he might as well have when he's constantly championing everything that's anti-public sector, or sorry, government-involved taking care of kids. Like even you saying there's no starvation is like so disingenuous. If you just Google it, there's like so many kids today here in America. You could look it up, the statistics, that have malnutrition, that have food scarcity, that have all these problems. It stunts their growth. It fucks them up in terms of their academic success. And for you guys to sit there and think that food lunches for kids is a crazy idea and parents should take care of them. Some parents are dog shit. Some parents don't take care of their kids. And so that's why these school lunches happen, so that kids who go to school get a meal. But people like Charlie Kirk, and then you did the same thing, are like, oh, the parents take care of it. That's fucking stupid. And I'm like, do you guys even Google this stuff? Do you guys even look into it? But you speak confidently against this stuff that's hurting hundreds and thousands of kids. And I'm like, I don't get it.
I'll ask you a question. Which one is higher, the amount of abortions in America or the amount of starving children in America?
But if he doesn't agree with abortions being
the amount of starving kids in America.
Oh, that's cap.
That's cap? Did you Google it? Did you Google it?
I don't need to Google it.
You don't need facts. But you know what? Facts don't care about how you feel about it. I need you to Google it.
Okay.
Go Google.
Somebody Google it in the chat.
Okay.
But I'm not. Let me figure out the best way to articulate this, because you have this anger towards Kirk and me and whomever else because we don't support not even support government assistance. We're saying the parents should do it, but in the reality of the problem, bro, there's so many different ways that people can eat outside of their parents. There's food stamps.
Okay, well, what's wrong with what's it called feeding them?
Charities, bro.
Fam, Abba is right. It said in 2024 there was only like 1 million abortions done, but it says kids in the United States, roughly 1 in 5 children face hunger in 2023, with organizations like Feed America reporting this figure, which equates to around 14 million children. That's crazy.
Like, there's no reason for somebody to starve.
So do you want a 7-year-old or 8-year-old to go to get food stamps or go to church and get food?
Their parents should go.
What if the parent doesn't want to go? What if their parent doesn't want to go?
You saw in the video I said it, bro. I'll be jealous when I see the amount of money these people have on food stamps, bro. They be running these EBTs up $400, $500, $600, bro. Like,
Yeah, watch,
there's
because it
no
was kind of crazy hearing that.
excuse for somebody to be broke or to be hungry, unless they got like they're picky, they're bougie about what the fuck they want to put in their body, dog. But beggars can't be choosers, bro. Like you can't have no filet mignon when you can't afford it, dog.
Okay,
we live in a capitalistic country, dog. It is what it is.
Let's take 2 steps back. All right, let's take 2 steps back. Do you agree with there's a lot of bad parents out there?
Absolutely.
Do you know that there's a lot? Hold up. Do you agree that there's a lot of parents who neglect those children?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think that those kids should suffer because they have bad parents?
No.
Okay,
I
so
don't think they should, but bad shit happens.
so wait, you're just gonna let kids suffer when the
No, I'm not gonna let them, bro, because there's other avenues. Like if they're
Wait,
going to
what,
school,
the avenue was like feeding them at school. What the hell is the problem?
This is a hypothetical.
Well, no, hold on. What did you say? If they're going to school, what? If they're going to school, they can get a free lunch there?
If they're going to school, I'm assuming that teachers are aware. They can see someone losing weight. Or they
But
see
that's what the
whatever.
program's for, Stevie. That's what I'm saying. The program is meant to give kids lunches at school.
No, that's not where I'm going with it. I'm talking about like teachers making calls to
Oh
get,
my God.
The correct parties involved to address a child, to find a potential food for them, so they can take advantage of the surplus of food that is available for people in these situations. Like the homeless don't go hungry, bro. They can go get a meal if they want to get a meal.
Oh my God.
You're comparing children to homeless. Like, what are we talking about? See, I want y'all to just think about it. So you know there's shitty parents out there,
Yeah.
okay? And you want teachers to call the shitty parents to be like, hey, be better parents. Or you want to call child services?
they can call-
You want to call child services? You want to put them in foster care?
It may be better than having the shooty ass parents.
Have you looked into foster care, Stevie? Have you Googled foster care?
Yeah, but you're describing these parents as ain't shit, bro. Like it is bad shit happens.
I know. I cover them. I cover them every day. There's a lot of ain't shit parents. There's a lot of ain't shit.
Bro,
You cover them. How many videos have you done about baby mamas? How many videos have you done about baby mamas and dog shit parents? If I go to your channel right now, I'll find dozens, hundreds of videos. So you want teachers to call those parents and be like, hey, feed your kids.
You're saying that I'm telling teachers to call the parents. I never said that. I said they can call parties that do this for a living to find.
Or they could just
children
get
the
a free
resources that
lunch.
they
Why
need.
is he fighting so hard against free lunch at school?
Like teachers do this all the time. They'll see a child that may be neglected and they'll make the calls or alert people to, intervene. Right. But I mean, I feel like we're pushing it far out to like specifics of it, bro. At the end of the day, my point of view on it is that it's, abortion is a far larger problem than starving children. Children don't starve in America. They may be hungry, but they don't starve. This isn't fucking people. It's not a famine going on. People are not dying because
they're not dying. But do you understand?
But like hypertension, obesity. There's much more obese kids than there are
Oh my God.
hungry kids, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the world's not perfect, dog. It's not utopia,
He doesn't
bro.
know.
So it's like
He doesn't even know.
And then I'm a capitalist, dog. I'm not in support of the government coming out taking care of everything.
It's not
You know what I'm saying? I'm
everything.
not going to oppose it. Like,
But you want the government to get involved and stop abortions.
I never said I don't give a fuck about what anybody does with abortion.
But did you say it's a bigger problem?
Yeah, I said it's a bigger problem. But I didn't give a solution to it. I know it's a problem. But I never said what I want to do about it. I could care less. Like it is what it is, dog. This life is fucking hard, dog. And some children are born in fucked up circumstances, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I think a lot of people would hear your stance or hear Charlie Kirk's stance and say, you guys aren't the best people because you don't seem to care about making sure that other people in society are okay, right? You guys are more focused on being capitalists and taking care of yourselves, which is okay. Do that. But if people want to look at you and say, well, you guys spread hate out there or you guys spread selfishness, I think that's okay. I think a lot of people allowed to do that.
I never said that was a problem. I said people can say whatever the fuck they want to say. My
Bro,
issue with people was
he's riding the
celebrating
fence.
his
He's not
death,
taking a stance.
like championing pom-pom and that shit. That's
Yeah.
the epitome of
Abba
evil
said
to me.
that too.
That's the epitome of
That's
evil.
not a right or left thing.
Wait,
You
that's
think
the
it's
epitome
more
of
evil to
evil?
celebrate that man's death than it is for that man to advocate for the fact that children don't get meals?
But they can get meals. Is that the only video you've seen him talk about children.
I'm just saying, someone dancing in the room.
listen,
I think
no,
it's bad. No,
no,
I agree. I think it's bad that someone danced in the room and thought it was great that Charlie Kirk died. But I also think it's bad that you're out there openly advocating for kids to not get meals in school because we have an obesity problem. I think that's also bad. I think so.
Get meals in school. I'm advocating for kids to take advantage of the surplus of food available to them in different ways that it is.
Where?
Yeah.
It's not on somebody to do it, bro.
It's not somebody.
You
What are your
shitty parents, I
taxes
get it,
for?
but we disagree on that perspective, dog. Like
What do you think your taxes are
The
for?
government should step in and save the world.
Save the world by
I don't
giving
agree
them a
with it.
meal
I
at
mean,
school where they have to
if they
be?
do it, I'm not gonna contend it. I'm not do what you want to do, bro. But
Hey,
I
man.
understand Kirk's perspective in that.
We pay so much in tax dollars, and most of it goes to the military to do funding wars overseas. I don't think it's so crazy to say, hey, man, take 1% of that budget and make sure these kids don't go hungry. Take another 1% of that budget and take care of veterans. But, like, maybe that's wrong. I just think it's crazy. It's me personally.
I wouldn't disagree with you with that, but I don't disagree with Kirk either. I mean, I don't think he should be painted as a demon for having that viewpoint.
You don't want him to be a demon
I think
for
it's
anything.
pretty demonic to not want kids to have meals, personally.
He never said he didn't want kids to have meals. Is that the only conversation you've seen Abba have discussing that topic?
When he was suggested a food program to make sure that kids who can't get access to good food or decent food or have malnutrition get food, he said, no, that's fucking stupid. Let the parents do it.
Can you answer my question, though? Was that the only video did you let that video play and see what else he said in regards to that discussion?
It don't matter.
Yeah, I played it.
And what did he say?
He said that he thinks that the parents should take care of it. The state shouldn't be involved.
He said, pull it up right now. I'll see
You can pull it up, but that's what he said. He said the state should not be involved.
No, bro, you're a victim to the same thing everybody else going through. Just getting sucked in by these reels, dog. He's named all these different avenues, these different ways of children to receive food. You're just
hold up. How does a hungry kid get food?
I gave you one example.
What is
If he's at school and teachers are aware of what the fuck's going on and they see a damn child coming in there looking emaciated, I don't know. I don't know what teachers, but I've seen instances where teachers step in and get the correct party involved to help said children.
Okay, so you want the state to
how?
get involved to make sure that kid gets school.
His food.
You literally just that's what you said. You want this. Do you know this?
I never said want. I said these resources are available to them.
But that's what your solution is, right?
That's
fine.
not my solution. I'm giving you the fact that there's different avenues and resources for children to get food if they need it.
Okay.
I'm not saying what I want. I'm saying what's available to
This
them.
is
There's
annoying.
no reason to starve, dog.
All right. Hey, listen. We'll agree to disagree on this point. No reason for kids but statistically speaking, every year there's so many kids who are suffering from malnutrition. That's what the numbers say. We'll move on to the next point.
And there's so many people that die from car accidents, bro. Fucked up shit happens. Like, we can't save everybody. We can't save everybody, bro. Like, it is.
But just because we can't save everybody doesn't mean we don't try.
But there's avenues for them to be saved, just maybe not with this school.
Yeah, like, yes, car accidents happen every year. Doesn't mean we don't try to make cars safer. Doesn't mean we don't make roads better.
And there's ways for children to get food.
Okay, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna disagree. I think that stance is crazy.
You don't think there's other ways for children to get food?
Why are you against?
I don't know. Have you ever been a kid? You think kids just know where to get free food every day? You truly think kids know what the resources are? Like, what are we talking about, man?
I don't know what their day-to-day is, man, but maybe there's meetings or like ways that teachers can express this to children to like educate them on.
I can't.
You know, there's like sex reproduction type of information they get. There's like if there's a potential for a problem to be had, I'm assuming that, you know, there may be ways for schools or whomever to express these resources to kids to make them aware of it, at least. Like, if they come in hungry, hey, we have this available if you are hungry. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how it is, but there are different ways for children to get food. I'm just making shit off the top of my head of how that connection may occur.
He doesn't care.
Yeah. I just think in terms of a worldview, we fundamentally disagree.
Stevie's chat is coping. Oh my god.
Topic, but it's fine. We can move on to the next topic because I don't want to laugh in circles.
Yeah, but like, look, first of all, like, my only issue was the manufactured narrative. And then, you know, we got to the bottom of, like you saying, you were contextualizing it in the video. I didn't receive it as such. I mean, those are mainly the unless you have something.
No, because I think you went over some of the stuff that I had because we both watch each other's videos. Another problem I had, I think this is like and I'll pull up the clip too, because this ever happens around, because I think you said you felt I was very biased. This is a very liberal take on things. That was a quote.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Yeah, there's other ways for kids to just figure out how to get food. I mean, there's other ways.
I'll come back.
Yeah, like how about free
So-
lunch?
When you say this is a very liberal take, after like watching a good like 10 minutes of our video, and you feel like what we're saying when we're saying, hey, both got sides engaged in political violence, there's a lot of this happening right now. Why do you feel like this is a very liberal or biased take?
I mean, it kind of goes to what I was saying initially, where it was like minimizing the effects of Charlie's tragedy and bringing up other examples to compare it to. And I can't remember.
Okay. Just to come back to that, let's say if we could contextualize it, or we couldn't do it the way we want, talk about other political violence. What would you have preferred? Do you prefer that everybody who talks about Charlie's death talks about it in a vacuum and they just talk about him dying? Like, because you didn't like the fact that we talked about like all the other deaths and all that stuff, and that's fine. But like, what would you have preferred?
No, if in that video, if I understood it as you contextualizing it, I wouldn't have a disagreement with you.
Okay.
I just felt like it was a way to minimize what happened to Kurt.
Okay.
People can say whatever they want to say.
Okay.
I watched you, I follow you, and I was just surprised by the tape.
Okay. I feel like you got a lot of right-wing bias. I feel like you call and when
I do.
Yeah.
I can agree with you.
Yeah, in the video you said that you feel like the left is the emotionally driven side. Do you feel like the right is more logical? You said the left is more emotional, so I feel like you think the right is more logical.
Yeah, I'd agree with that take.
So you don't feel like the right engages in a lot of hysteria or a lot of emotionality?
Yeah, they do.
So
do you feel?
I think a valid, I guess, a label.
He finna reframe his argument.
I mean, with the whole different nuances, there's much more nuances and different ways that the left operates, man.
He backtracking.
Outside of like racism and
he backtracking.
Racism. I feel like the right gets crazy extremists with racism and like transphobia or whatnot, man. But there's just lots of spectrums to perspectives and different ways of looking at life.
Right,
and,
Nova.
Mental health type of things that derive mentally and emotionally from the left, which is propagated mostly on. I mean, all I see is on social media, bro. That doesn't appear as much on the right. It's usually like a nationalist or some white supremacist or some anti-gay that's out here doing the utmost.
Yeah. Okay.
There's not a lot of conversations as far as gender dysphoria. That's a mentally emotional type of
he doesn't know what he's talking
conversation.
About. He doesn't know. It's not emotional.
Very relevant.
My God. Oh my God.
The whole LGBTQ thing, and you get children involved and all so much more nuanced, much more layered.
He doesn't know
the right wing is much simple. It's more based on traditions and
that's why you're so fucking stupid.
You got motherfuckers that are super traditional and super values, and that's when it gets hateful.
Do you think that traditions and values are logic based?
No. Don't you dare. It's not.
It's a twofold. Some of it is based on religion, but then you can apply logic to it. You know what I mean? Because it's been a tradition because something has worked for so long, right? So if it's working, we built this logic to know it works this way. We sustained the quality of life for this long, so we know based on our tradition that this thing works. And then when we take logic, take tradition and values away, we have this mess we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd fundamentally disagree with that. People have done certain things for thousands of years, from human sacrifices to all kinds of really fucked up traditions. And
I'm focusing here in America. I mean, there's no perfect way of doing things, bro. But I think I'm the simpler the better, man. There's not room for extra bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot more crazy things going on because we've opened up the gates. And we scale it back, and I'm not talking about nationalism, white supremacy, whatever, man. People can do what they want to do, but when you let everybody just follow their feelings and follow their heart and do what they want to do and don't apply any logic, then problems arise.
Do you think faith in religion is logical?
No.
Right, but that's what a lot of the right is driven by, no? And to be honest with you, I don't think everything about religion is necessarily logical. There's plenty of laws and rules in
Yeah,
there
I'm
that
not
that
religious, bro.
are, you know, that are good principles to have in everyday life. But I just reject this notion.
I'm not religious. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not saying you are.
But you made the assertion that you feel like the left is more emotional. But I would
He didn't say
argue that
anything.
if you are, you know, very religious, that a lot of that is based in emotion. It's based in faith. It's based in ideas. This idea that lefties are all emotional, but righties are more,
stupid. It's
lefties are
ridiculous.
more emotional and righties are more logical. It's just like,
No.
I mean,
I think it just, I think it's a very like,
phrasing it that way is making it much more extreme than what I was
But
trying
you
to
said
convey.
it.
Just think that the
He can't
label
stand
of
on anything he
emotional is
says.
more along the lines of the
He can't-
left than the right. Right?
He
I'm not
can't
out here
stand on
saying the
anything he
left
says.
is lunatic. I understand the stigma or whatnot.
He
I'm
don't
not.
stand on anything he says.
yeah, I personally think the problem is that you're demonizing the idea of emotionality, and especially in the way that the left might express it. But I think being emotional in healthy doses is very, very good. And much of the way that the right expresses it, if done well, can also be very, very good. But this idea, you almost made it like a critique that the left is more emotional. But in my head, I'm like, well, just today, right? Or yesterday, during the memorial, I watched Charlie Kirk's wife give a speech. It was hyper emotional. It was very faith based. There wasn't necessarily logic to it all the time, but it was still very beautiful. It was very moving, and that sense of emotionality is something that I appreciate. I just think sometimes
I would too, but I think problems arise.
You're right, Nova.
derived
He's never
from
he doesn't explore his
the
he
right-
does not explore his opinions. There's just the face value of it.
right and the left for. I mean, when the right does, I'm only focused on the bad things. That's what we focus on, right? If it's good, who cares? Everything's working. But the bad, there's an argument to be made that when bad shit goes awry, it's because people's emotional connection or just mentally unstableness to how they align. All I'm
sure,
saying
I would
the
agree
left-
with that.
all I'm saying with the left, there's more opportunity for error because of so many different ways you can go about this, man. Like just quantitatively, right? There's much more there's much more margin for error emotionally with the left because of everything that the left has going on. The right is simple.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I disagree with that characterization, but I understand what you're getting at. But that's fine. I think that's okay. I think this is the last point that I really wanted to bring up. Let's see here, because I just want to make sure I kind of get to everything, just so that we can close out this up on a decent note. At one point during the thing, and I appreciated the fact that we mentioned the fact that most political violence happens on the right. And you said, I need to fact check that. You looked it up. I want to ask you, when you looked it up, what did you see?
More right-wing violence.
Right. And
Yeah.
when I brought this up, a lot of people had a negative reaction. They didn't believe it. They said, violence is very left wing. I know you didn't. And I appreciate the fact that you looked it up, because a lot of people would be very disingenuous and won't even do that. A lot of the political discourse right now is in the direction that I was telling you about earlier, which is like framing the left as the more political violent party. Even though this is not true, this is going viral everywhere.
I wonder how that's
but none
gonna
of the
go.
numbers support that. And I'm curious, from your perspective, why do you think that perspective is out there?
Because Kirk just got killed by the left.
Okay.
I think if it was different and some white supremacists, put another Charleston, we'd be seeing the same thing in the other way. Because it happened. Like we got the right got labeled as racist and all that. Another white supremacist out here killing a bunch of. I mean, I think it's more.
Yeah, but we know it's
I
more.
think this is the more.
We're gonna say more serious.
I don't call it viral, but it went
Yeah.
viral.
He wanted to say it's more important. He wanted to say it's more
most
important.
attention towards it because of the nuance that came with it, man.
No,
But I think every time an extremist or act of terror comes and we figure out who did it, we're gonna blame that side until something else
No, but
happens.
it's about
Gotcha.
who does more.
Okay.
That's not what it's about. But they was lying. They were lying. The
I
right
think that
was
pretty much
lying.
covers most of the points that I had. Like I said, there was a couple things that I really did like the video, and I appreciate the fact that there's a lot
Well,
of.
I fuck with you, dog. You know what I mean? I came up here just on some chill shit. Just wanted to get your take and your perspective, man. So like,
Yeah, and listen, even if we disagree vehemently on certain aspects because of the way that we view the world, I think also, for me, do you believe that I used to be like a right leaning person? Because I think at one point in the video you're like, "Yeah, he used to be right and he kind of changed left or what?" Like, did you feel?
No. I said I think in that video I said that the
He did,
whomever
Nova.
Tyler or whomever the hell they
Oh,
want.
he was the one who went from right
Yeah,
to left.
he was right and then he went left. I don't know, what your political alignment with, but based on that video, I would assume it would be for the left. Based on this conversation now, I would assume it'd be for the left.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely is. I think in the wake of everything that's happened, I'll repeat it 1,000 times. I hope nobody else has to die for their political opinions. But I also think that the way that discourse happens, the way that a lot of political commentators engage with politics in a very mean-spirited way, I think it just riles up their fan base. I think it's very effective in driving people to be extremists. We've treated these things like they're existential. I mean, I played a lot of the quotes from you from some of the most popular people who are saying, this is a war, the left is coming to kill you, and stuff like that. And when you have this kind of rhetoric, this is only going to seek to make people feel like their life is at risk.
It's deeper than that, bro. This whole thing is a fucking op, and they just press the button having us go crazy.
I agree.
It's nice, dog.
I agree.
None of this shit fucking matters. They just know what the fuck to do to get us going. And then that's my focus, which is unfair. Now looking at your video, man, that's the mindset I have at this point. I don't look at it from a right and left lens. I look at it literally as a fucking evil versus good lens. You know what I'm saying? And people need to recognize that regardless of political affiliation.
Fact,
so we can do our best to, be aware of this fucking maze that they got us in to remove ourselves from it, dog, because it's just another game they're playing. They press the button and they got us pissed at each other, and social media just exacerbates every fucking thing, making it so much worse. And people don't do the research. They get emotionally triggered by the shit they fucking see, and they're literally getting brainwashed and conditioned to be out here spitting on people's grave, dog. Like, that's dangerous, dog. It's not gonna stop it, Kurt.
Why does he care so much about that?
It's just we're here now. We're here now, and the best thing, and like some kumbaya talk, and us trying to figure out how to soothe it or whatever. That's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, you brought up two things. You said one of the reasons why you said it wasn't a good idea to compare Kirk to any of the one other people said Kirk isn't a politician. It isn't the same. Do you remember saying that?
MLK wasn't a politician.
Why do you feel that makes a big difference?
Because he's not. I mean, I can understand someone contending with that, man, because without Kirk, Trump wouldn't be in office. I mean, so I get that. But as far as him actually being a politician and
do you think Biden go push the fight button?
Getting laws passed and actually having like tangible control over people's everyday lives is what politicians do. I'm talking about like literally to the definition of it.
Yeah.
But in a more nuanced way, I understand that viewpoint.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what I would have said. Like, I understand that he wasn't a politician, but he was very influential. And like you said, he did help Trump get elected. He changed his policy. He got the young voters to really come out. So even though he might not be a politician like those Minnesota senators who died, he was probably more influential to them. He probably influenced politics and policy more than they ever did. And I think that's why he's part of the larger discussion about political violence against anybody. And so I think
anybody comes out here that has any type of voice and any type of influence is a target.
True.
I mean, politics.
Yeah.
You're a fucking target.
And that's why I don't post my location. I mean, I'll be very careful when I'm outside. And this is the last thing I want to talk to you about. Actually, the last one. At 3:58, you said, and I think you've repeated this. You said, "Ain't no talking to them. Nothing needs to be said. They need to be controlled." You were talking about people who were engaging in political violence, or the people, or the evil people who are like celebrating. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, Sharon, you've seen that despicable shit, bro. Like, ain't no talking to them.
Yeah. Do you Okay.
What did you say?
Well, this will be the last point. So, what would you want to do with these people? Because, like, in the video, you went kind of wild. You said, "Hey, these people need to be exiled." You said they need to be decapitated. I was like, "Damn!"
I was giving everybody that's on the good end that feels the type of way to feel heard in what I was trying to voice, bro.
Come on now.
You know what I mean?
It is not that deep.
Like, if something violent happened to them, if they lost their job, if they lost their freedom,
it's not that
like, because it's literally evil, bro. We don't got no time for evil. There's literally no
I'm sorry, you can't say people that's a little happy that Charlie Kirk passed is evil, but the stuff he said isn't. Like, I don't feel that in my spirit to be excited about it, but like it's different.
To them, so we just expect them to just
What is his
to,
metric? Like you
down
just
and
like
not
it's
continue
so
their
weird.
evil.
Damn, man, you gonna make me the most like lip cuck person in the world right now. I'm a disagree with you. I think people who do evil things aren't necessarily evil. I think sometimes they're hurt. I think sometimes they are in a
True.
really bad place. I think
True.
sometimes these are folks that, you know, and it's almost ironic
feel
too, because
targeted.
I do believe that people should be punished for the things that they do and they should suffer those consequences, but I don't think they're irredeemable. Labeling someone evil, I think, is a way for us to look at something and then simplify it. But the reality is that things are complex. People are complex, and the reason why they get to that place is very difficult. You know, there's plenty of people who were white supremacists or part of horrible gangs and came back from it. There's plenty of people who advocated for racism and different horrible things and came back from it. Same thing on the left side.
They better get back from it before it's too late. That's all I'm saying. Because I ain't got time to care about why they are that they are.
You judging him at that?
You saying some evil shit, you get the fuck out of here. Like, ain't no talking to you. And something bad happens to you because you fucking spit on Kirk's grave, or you up here acting like you got shot in front of a fucking memorial, bro. Like, I could care less. You know what I mean? Like, if hopefully you have a intervention or a coming to God moment, then you can be saved. But before that, nah. And then I'm not Christian. I'm not no holier than thou motherfucker.
Fair.
Yeah, man. I know people may receive that wrong, dog. But like, you fuck around and find out. Hopefully you figure that shit out before you find out.
I agree. I would just say, you know, labeling people evil is just a blanket term to be able to just cut off any kind of sense of personhood in there. And like I said,
I don't consider them people. So
you don't consider them
You
people?
don't consider them people?
Nah, they're nah, I'm not. I don't even have a discussion with you because and at the end of the day, I know. Especially at this point, dog. At this point, bro, with the whole Kirk situation, bro, I dropped a video on this shit, dog. Like, I've lost faith in humanity at this point after seeing how people.
My God, this is not the first person that got celebrated for dying.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And,
People don't give a fuck about Hulk Hogan.
You know, mentally, like emotionally tied to my stance in this regard, dog. Like, I could care less about why you feel the way you feel.
But that's why I'm saying this to you. You can't be emotional about this and let it govern you, because that's why you get into the bad spot. Because I need you to understand, you saying this is the exact same stuff that leads to the other people looking at Kirk and saying he's an evil person. And when someone is just evil, killing them is no problem. When someone is evil, you justify the murder.
I understand what you're saying, bro. I understand what you're saying, dog.
Fair.
And prior
That
to
actually
Kirk,
make me
I
look at
probably
it
would have
different.
sided with you. But it is what it is at this point.
But you're being emotional though.
Hey, I'm not gonna be the fucking better person, bro. I tweeted it out when I saw.
I'm not asking you to be the better person. I'm asking you to be logical. I'm asking you to be principled. I'm asking you not to be emotional.
But look, check this out. Logically.
Yeah. You that thing that right wingers do.
No, look. Logically,
Yeah, that's crazy,
it still
Rodney.
wouldn't even make sense
It's
because
actually
ain't no
crazy.
talking to them. Like, there's no point in me having a conversation with somebody
That's
gone
not
like that.
true,
So
man. That's
why
not
it is.
true.
It is,
Do you know
bro.
how many
It is.
people were talked out of killing people? Do you know how many people who had?
I'm talking about this instance right here, and I'm basing this anecdotally from the
I
people
know,
that I've
right, Nova? Like, why? Like, this is insane.
spoken
That
with that are
Charlie Kirk's death is make you lose faith in humanity? Golly.
so misinformed, but they're unwilling to even entertain the idea that things are not the way that they believe them to be, right? There's no talking to them. So logically, it is what it is. You sealed your fate. So why I'm going to sit here and give you the benefit of the doubt and try to kumbaya with it? What's the source of your problems? Why'd you get misled? No, fuck that, bro. Stay over there.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I disagree with the idea that there's no talking to them. There's plenty of people who've talked away from extremism. It happens all the time. I mean, there's a guy, what was the black dude who goes up to Ku Klux Klan members and literally talks them out of, fucking white supremacy. He talks them out of it.
Yeah,
There's plenty of people who do that.
I really think this situation is a one-off because I'd expect the KKK to be that way, but the flooding of just random people out here saying the most sadistic shit, like I've never seen anything. Like, what would you compare this situation to that you've seen since you've been walking the God's green earth?
What would I compare? What situation?
What's there's nothing to compare it to.
Compare what? What and what?
Like the response, the demonic, the evil responses people have had to it, shitting on his grave, cussing him out, fuck Kirk and his mom and his
bro.
wife and his kids, take a burn.
I was on social media enough to see Shit, man, like a couple days after Trayvon Martin was dead, motherfuckers had a trend that went viral to say that it's called Trayvoning.
Yep.
They would say there and lay in the exact same position as how he was killed. They did the same thing with George Floyd. Remember after he died, and motherfuckers sat on the floor while someone had their neck, and they would take these pictures. Look it up. I ain't even make it up. You can find these things. There's so many examples of people laughing at people dying because they didn't like them and they didn't like what they stood for. That happens all the time, and these aren't even political people. These aren't even political people.
It was at this scale. It was at this scale.
Bro,
it might not have been to this scale or in this terms of virality. I'll agree with you there, but I'm just saying people celebrate death. It happens. Paul Pelosi, that was another example. He was he was a 67-year-old man, and a lot of people were hashtagging and laughing about his death, and they were saying,
"I give you the one-offs." Like I'm not gonna say it's an absolute thing that nobody was out here doing it, but there was way too many this time, bro. There's way too many this time, and I was surprised. Don't shit surprise me about the fucking world, and I was extremely surprised to see that amount of fucking. There's nothing I can categorize.
Why isn't he taking in consideration how much Charlie Kirk probably hurt people?
That's outside of fucking evil, or people that I didn't fucking expect, even people that I know personally, brother, I didn't even think have that type of shit in them, is out here celebrating a man's death that way. When they got close to home for me, that's when the fucking opened the doors for me, bro.
Yeah, but that's my point. I get how you feel. I get the whole, like the sensation of like, this world is a dark place and like we can't even negotiate with it.
I'm not even gonna say the world's a dark place. I'm just saying that.
Well, you said you had no hope, so that's why I'm saying that. When you say you have no hope,
I'm saying there's no hope for these motherfuckers. You may give them hope. I'm not. They can burn.
Okay.
I care less.
I just, if you can take away one thing, is you know what I mean, what you was telling me earlier. You know what I mean? You can't approach the world's problem from a hyper emotional place. And that's what you're doing right now. You're letting the passion and the emotion of the moment govern how you're viewing the world. Yes, you are.
You misquoting me, bro. You misquoting me, dog. I'm saying there is emotion tied to it, bro. I'm a human being. I'm not a fucking machine. You know what I'm saying? But I told you, the reason why I feel comfortable having this perspective on it is because logically, I know that there's no way to talk these people out.
No, that's not logical at all.
So logic, that's a waste of time. That's a waste of effort for what?
Wait, what is this logic? I don't understand. What's the logic though? What's this logic? This logic that you can't talk people out of extremism.
Yeah, there's no talking to them, bro. There's no talking to any of these extremists, these evil motherfuckers out of their frame of mind until they take their own journey to do it. I'm not gonna sit here wasting my time trying to take them out when they not ready to have that conversation.
See, if you're not willing or you're not interested in that discussion, that's fine. But saying that there's no way to talk people out of forms of extremism.
Yeah, there is a way. There's a way. I'm just saying I'm not signing up for it. You can. I'm not.
Okay. Stop saying you just said there's no way.
That's very different. If you're saying there is a way and these people can be redeemed, then by definition they're not evil. They're just in an evil space right now.
Bro, you come on, dog.
You have to admit, if you can talk people, but think about that. Hold on. It's logical. Hold on.
You got it.
Hold on.
You know what the fuck I mean.
But you see the logic though.
Can you address the reality?
I'm just trying to say, if you're telling me it is possible to redeem these people, then that means by definition they are not evil. That's just what that means. Now, they may be engaging in evil. They may be doing horrible things, and they should be punished for that.
Let me rephrase it for you.
It's important because words matter.
Let me rephrase it for you, make Abba feel better. Every motherfucker engaged in evil could burn.
Well,
God. I hope you guys burn, and you guys are reborn through the Phoenix. You guys come back as better people. All right? I'm not the most forgiving person. I think after watching, I'm not. But I'll tell you what changed me. I'll tell you what this Charlie Kirk. I'll tell you the Charlie Kirk situation changed me because I think watching his wife on that stage was probably the single most powerful political moment I've ever seen, maybe ever. Yeah. And I think I'm an agnostic person. I'm not religious, but it really was beautiful to me. And, whatever political differences I might have, for her to, she was the only person I saw that embodied like the best parts about religion. Everyone else, they wear it as like a veneer and they're very hateful online. But like truly, she reminded me of the religious people I've met before that were amazing. And I think if she can learn to forgive and try to see the decent in people, then I think I want to try. I want to be better.
Do you think she really meant that? I think it's just a political move. I don't think she really meant to.
I think when I listened to her, it felt genuine, and I think I also believed that she really wanted to say that because she was the only person that night who spoke like that. She
Yeah,
could have
why
joined the whole
it's kind of
chorus of
like
people and you know
I
been
don't know.
very
It could have
political
been all
about the whole thing.
performative.
But
I
she
don't know.
chose a very Christian and a like core Christian message, and I think I want to celebrate that. So you know, I'm trying to be a bit better.
I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think about people calling the memorial like a nationalist convention?
I mean, a lot of it was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest with you, because it takes away from her moment, and she's the most important person there. But all the other people who got up on stage, even Trump, I thought Trump was disrespectful, to be honest. He's saying like, I disagree with her. I hate my opponents. Like, why would you say that at that man's memorial when his wife said what she said? Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
crazy.
If the wife is not gonna say it, how dare you say some shit like that? But I don't even want to make it about that because like I'm probably gonna cover it, and I'm probably just gonna talk about her message because like I couldn't believe he said that shit after her, and I feel like it took away from her moment with hatred, and it's just like I don't know, like why? And I don't know. I hated
Trump. No, Trump was being Trump. You would expect him to say. I expected him to say
Trump
that
being
shit,
Trump.
bro.
Why y'all okay with
Trump
that?
is just
Why you okay with that?
He a dog.
bro, but that shit was like
You okay?
You gotta be.
He's adding more fuel to the flame. I
Yeah,
get it.
you got to be
But
sociopathic
you
to
sound
use that
okay
man's
with it.
memorial for that, though. Like, is there no line? Are you going to literally sit at his grave to do his speech? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just kind of like, there's like, I don't know. That was crazy. If that's my funeral and people are doing that, bro, I hope I come back as a ghost and kill everybody.
Man, if motherfuckers at my funeral, they better be on some Trump shit. If I got shot like Kirk did, motherfuckers better. I don't want no kumbaya. I don't want
No, because I don't want that. To
Fair,
lose more of my
fair.
people.
If that's you, I agree. If that's your message, that's not Kirk's message. That's not his wife's message. You got to respect the family that you're out there. It's their memorial, not mine, not yours.
The
You
fact
know what I
that
mean?
he
Like, I
really-
could never.
Stevie.
You
These niggas.
think about this, man. All the people laughing at fucking Charlie Kirk's death and all that. That's fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Now, how about using his fucking funeral so you can push your political message that's against the wife and the widow?
I understand the perspective.
I mean, that to me, that was kind of disgusting. I ain't gonna lie.
I get it.
I know, but anyways, you know what I'll say that I just want to. I don't want to leave it on that note. Like I said, I thought her speech was beautiful, and you know, if I could leave on any note, it's like I want to try to be better. So I'm definitely going to use that as a little bit of inspiration. You know, forgiveness, and you know, even for Charlie, may not have liked the dude's politics, but he didn't deserve that for sure. And that shit, what happened to him, was disgusting. And I hope that we really can stem the tide of political violence, because I think where we're going is a dark place.
You think that we can stem the tide of political violence? You really think that can
I
happen?
think if you and I and a lot of people who engage in political discourse try to be better, try to be more civil, try to be more forgiving, try to be understanding of each other, I think we can set a decent example. I can't guarantee that we're going to do it, but we should try. I think we should try. And if we're not even going to try, then how can we complain about the outcome? We gave up and we gave in. So, you know, I'm going to try to be better. I'm going to try to be better, and I'm going to try to set an example.
We ain't giving up.
Then that means you can't call these people evil. That's what that means.
Look. We ain't giving up. I'm drawing a line in the motherfucking sand, bro. Like I say, fuck the right and left. Fuck all that shit, bro. We over here. You know what I mean? And if you're engaged in evil right now, you better
What do you call evil?
come to your senses, because
What do you call evil?
it's coming.
Celebrating
That's
death
type of time I'm on.
is evil?
All right.
That's top time.
All right, man. Well, listen, I think
It was cool though, bro.
it was cool. I'm glad that we got to disagree loudly. And like, listen,
Yeah.
I promise you, my opinion hasn't changed at all. I like to disagree. I still disagree with a lot of people, even my own friends.
Yeah, but we should be able to disagree and not have vitriol for each other, bro. And that's the biggest problem we have right now. People disagree, and then people get killed for it.
Yeah. If you want to wonder why I'm moving like this, the last thing I want to do is get shot while we doing this stream. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, y'all not going to catch me slipping. You know what I mean? Bob it and weave it. No snipers getting me. You know what I'm saying? I might be by a window, but fuck that. But I'm sure you ain't got no window by your screen.
No, I got a big ass fucking window right here.
Okay. Hey, Bob and weave, brother. You playing with fire.
I
Watch.
stay
He
holding.
can't
bro.
stand
I'm,
on anything. This was
I'm
so
very,
frustrating to
gun
watch.
friendly.
That was so
Real
frustrating.
shit. Like this cowboy hat, don't get it twisted, bro. Like this cowboy hat is just, you know.
It's not bulletproof?
Nah, but you know, I get the gun is I got the gun on me right now.
You're not gonna beat a sniper, bro. You're not one of them cowboys.
He said, "You
All
not
right, bro.
gonna beat
Listen,
this
I'm
one."
gonna end the stream, but
right, big
thank you
dog.
so much, man.
Thank you, bro.
All right, peace.
Yes, sir.
Didn't want to end the stream like that. Appreciate y'all for rocking out with me this long though, man. For sure. Y'all was in this bitch. Y'all stuck with me through the whole thing. Y'all could have watched it on your own. Y'all watched it with me. I appreciate it, man. But it's late. Going to bed. Appreciate y'all, man. I'll probably be back on here tomorrow in the afternoon. But if y'all made it to this point stream, man, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.